Hello, chat. Hello. Hello. So, hi there, everybody. So, yeah, the title kind of is what it is. A moonshine stream, yes. No, and if you guys don't know who I put up as the thumbnail, that is a famous moonshiner named Popcorn Sutton. And he had a history of making, untaxed liquor. And eventually in 2009, he got arrested for that and having a 38. And the feds were going to put him in prison for just shy of 2 years. And due to his age and his shitty health, he committed suicide. But he is, yeah. Popcorn passed away, a while ago. He passed away a while back. So, not Corn Pop Sutton, Popcorn Sutton. Didn't know that about popcorn, yeah. So, yes, guys, America has a history of alcohol and distilling alcohol. And that's why they called it moonshiners, because you made it by the light of the moon as it shined down on you. But we've also had a history of not paying taxes on alcohol, which led to things like the Whiskey Rebellion, which was the federal government suppressing moonshiners who were refusing to pay taxes on the alcohol they were making. And yes, that's the thing George Washington led troops into battle over. That's literally what happened. That is when the government, the first and only time a president led troops into battle. So, yes, you're taxed twice for making corn whiskey. Yes. And also, hold on here, Chance. Hold on here. I gotta see who the heck this is. All right, guys. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going here. Anyway, the deal is to do alcohol in America. You can't just distill for your own purposes. That's something people have wished to do, but there's really little you can do there. You're not allowed to produce alcohol at home. And for a long time, you couldn't do beer or wine. But throughout the 70s and 80s, those were actually repealed and the ATF allowed people to do it. Now, people were brewing beer and making wine at home. There also wasn't a lot of linking for that. KRM says, yes, there is an interview with the prosecutor who quit today. Actually gave an interview to Chris Cuomo and said, yeah, Carrie Morrissey's a fucking liar. And she knew yesterday it was bad. So, why can you do home brews of beer and wine? Because the excise taxing, there's not that much tax money made off of beer and wine. The taxes on fucking liquor are insane. It's why the government doesn't let you do it. Untaxed alcohol deprives them of a ton of fucking money. That's the only reason why. It's not a health issue. It's because they're not getting a cut. It's because they're not getting a cut. Brewing beer isn't really that big a deal anymore. That's the real issue here. That's been a common thing. And it's interesting the use and bootlegging of alcohol has influenced so much culture in America. For example, NASCAR. The original NASCAR drivers were guys who souped up their cars to outrun the government. Revenuers, as they were called, because they were for the Department of Revenue, because you were cheating the government out of its tax money. So the bootleggers made faster cars, better handling cars to outrun the government, and then they started racing each other. That's how NASCAR came about. But you also see it, like we have songs like Copperhead Road, getting 30 pounds of yeast is a copper line, or even better, Rocky Top, the state song of Tennessee. Rocky Top, it says that, some strangers climbed up on old Rocky Top looking for a moonshine still. And they never climbed down off old Rocky Top, and they probably never will. Yeah, some government revenuers, the proto-ATF agents, climbing up in the woods to go look for a moonshine still. Dangerous fucking job. It's also the only state song that talks about shooting federal agents. So, yeah. Something to think about. The idea, yes, white lightning, yes. Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew also became, why that became a name for a drink, a pop? That was an original name for moonshine, was Mountain Dew. Yes, and it's happened and it keeps going throughout our society. And I thought Rocky Top was racism. No, it's about murdering federal agents. Yes, there's a $13.50 per gallon tax on distilled spirits. $13.50 a gallon. There is so much money involved in it. That's why the federal government goes after it. It is insane. And if you guys want to know how much it is by state, I mean, here you go. Like, it is a money-making machine. Copperhead Road is also a Tennessee state song. Really? I did not know that. Yeah. Yeah, guess what Copperhead Road is about? Yeah. But then at the end of it, when Johnny Pettimore comes back from Vietnam, he's growing weed now. So not just alcohol. And yes, and guys, it even goes to the type of alcohol you could sell. For the longest time under federal, the ATF never approved clear corn alcohol, just any alcohol, any whiskey, corn liquor. You couldn't sell clear corn liquor because that's what it looks like when it comes out of a still and it's bootlegged. It had to be colored. It had to have that color out of it. That brown color. You had to have this brown color. If it was clear, you got a bottle of it, there's going to be a big presumption for the longest time it was illegal. Seriously. That's how, when it comes out, it's clear. You have to get permission to make alcohol fuel. Yep. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get to this. Because this is pretty fucking based. Get to drinking, fat man. We're not drinking tonight. But it's interesting to look at. So right now I can make moonshine, and we'll get to who can and who can't. But it's a beginning. This is how it starts. This is how it starts. Yes, the whiskey rebellion was because the frontier folks made whiskey to preserve grain. Yep, because it keeps. And they had to pay the tax to keep the whiskey. Yep, and they refused to pay the tax on it. Mm-hmm. Now, like, if you guys have ever had actual moonshine, like I have before, like, if it's done right, it's amazing. It's very good. Very, very good. Will there be a red on stills? Well, you can buy stills. You can buy stills on Amazon, actually. I didn't realize you could do that. So let's get started, but let's take a look. Like, what is the cost, like, with the taxation of alcohol? I mean, there's in distilled spirits, it's fucking ridiculous. So, as a PDF, here we go. Distilled spirits taxes by state. The liquor and alcohol taxes. You know, some states are insane the amount of they charge. And like somebody said here in Washington, it's $36.55. They're number one. Look at that shit, chat. Look at that. Look at that. That's insane. $36 a gallon. You know, Ohio, it's $11.38 a gallon. Look at that. Between number 1 and number 12. That's how far of a difference. It's $25 almost. And then you see like New Hampshire. Nothing. Good job, New Hampshire. And then you get up to like the hot, you know, it's impressive when you see these numbers. Like Indiana, it's $2.68. Okay. That's better. It's better than the other states. Colorado, it's $2.28. They're 47th ranked. So it's ridiculous what we're looking at here, isn't it, chat? Makes you want to fucking scream. Yeah, I am surprised. New York is not that bad per gallon of alcohol. It's really interesting. That was the one that caught me too, guys, when I saw this. The state of California. California, $3.30 a gallon. It's 40th ranked. I mean, look at that. That is mind-blowing. That's mind-blowing, chat. Like, I would assume California's taxes on alcohol are like quasi-stupid. I mean, like, would you have thought that? No. And like Alabama, I would not have thought Alabama was almost $22 a gallon. I mean, think about it. It's Alabama. Some of these are very, very weird. Some of these are so weird. Massachusetts, it's 36th ranked at $4.05. Missouri, $2 a gallon. Hoo-wee. Hoo-wee, chat. And then Oregon, it's like $22. Fucking A. Like Rhode Island. You know, Rhode Island is doing really good. Like Texas, I get because of the Mormon thing. I get the Mormon thing in Texas. And then Wyoming also has no tax. Based Wyoming. What is West Virginia? Oh, hold on, Ashley. West Virginia is $8.32. It's 19th ranked. Okay. Now this is important information here that you guys so you understand here. At the federal level, spirits are subject to a tiered system. Federal rates are $2.70 per proof gallon on the first 100,000 gallons in a calendar year, $13 for more than 100,000 gallons, but less than 22.23 million, and then $13.50 proof gallon for more than 22.3 million gallons. Like, Yeah, it's a lot of money, chat. That's the federal tax. So not only like if you're, depending on how much you sell 22 million, you sell 20 million gallons of whiskey in the state of Washington. You owe the feds $13.34 for every gallon. And then you owe the state of Washington $36 for every gallon. Almost $50 a gallon for whiskey and alcohol. Yes. Chat is listening to the host read a chart. Okay, well, we're talking about alcohol. So there you go, guys. This is just so you understand. This is how serious the government is when it comes to this. They will fucking kill you for alcohol money. They want that booze money, chat. They want that booze money. So let's get into the court case. This is out the United States District Court. So that's where we start. Out of Northern District of Texas in Fort Worth. And it's the Hobby Distillers Association et al. Versus the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Tax and Trade Bureau. So we're going to skip the opinion right here because we're going to get to that. We need the background. There are two federal statutes that regulate the location of distilled spirit plants or stills, which are used to distill beverage or alcohol spirits. Individual plaintiffs are for people from various states who wish to distill spirits at home for personal consumption. Association plaintiff, the Hobby Distillers Association, is a Texas-based organization that advocates for the legalization of home distilling beverage alcohol for personal consumption. Based. I didn't know there was a Hobby Distillers Association. Like, how do you do that? You're an organization. You're like, that's like saying like the Machine Gun Connoisseurs Association. We want people to make I want to make untaxed machine guns. You know what? I wonder hold on here. Let's see if Fudbusters, is he on? Let me hear. Hold on, guys. We're gonna do this real quick. Hold on, you're gonna go into chat. Hey, Matt. Hey, you want to come on and talk about this judge in Texas who enjoined like all the laws on home distilling? You want to come up right now? I just thought about you. Well, yeah, yes. I mean, we're on right now. I'm naked on camera. Like, I'm all by myself. Here, I'll send you a link if you want to come over. Oh, if you don't, well, if you're busy as shit. Here, I'll just send you a link if you're ready. Okay, well. Oh, for a while, I just literally started. All right, see you guys. All right, we'll have him over at some point, guys. See, that's neat. You can just jump on. Is the shower call live? Yeah, I just clocked into his I just jumped into Discord there. He'll be there and he'll be in a minute. He's working in the shop. But this is so cool. The Hobby Distillers Association, chat. Think about it. They advocate for legalized legislation of home distilling beverage alcohol. The association has 1,300 members nationwide, including all 4 individual plaintiffs. Now, here's the deal. Imagine if I started a organization that advocated for the legalization of untaxed machine guns. What do you think is going to happen to our group? And this is where I want Matt to be here. What do you think happens to our group if that happens? Who's he? You'll find out soon enough, Young. He's a great guy. I did not have you guys muted. Oh, what would happen? We get fucking raided. I'm surprised this hasn't happened. But yes, they have this organization. Like, I didn't know they existed. I'm going to fucking join them. Because hell yeah, I'd run a still. and has organized the advocate for legalization of home distilling while providing information and education to its members on the nuances of distilling various spirits. So how does this work? We give you all these tips and tricks, but it's like, don't do them. Like, listen, guys, here's how you do the sear on a fucking DP-28 machine gun. Just don't do it. So enacted in 1868, and guys, this is how far back this shit goes. 26 USC 5178 provides that no distilled spirits plants for the production of distilled spirits shall be located in any dwelling house, in any shed, yard, or enclosure connected with any dwelling house, or on board any vessel or boat or premises where beer or wine is made or produced, or liquors of any description are retailed, or on premises where any business is carried on. Now, they're going to argue that's for safety because stills can explode sometimes. And 26 USC 5601. And guys, 26 USC, there's an important thing there. 26 USC 5845. You may have heard of that one before. 28 USC 5845. Definitions of what? Firearm. Machine gun. The National Firearms Act. And what's 26 USC cover? Well, let's go to 26 USC. Huh. What's this cover? Income tax. What else do we have? Estate and gift taxes, employment taxes, miscellaneous excise taxes, alcohol taxes, Joint Committee on Taxation. Huh. It's the tax code. Yes. So when we go back to this, 26 USC 5178. Yeah, guys, this is all tax related. The government wants its cut. They always have. They always have. And now it's a felony, providing that any person, and it makes it a felony to any person. Yes, the theft code. Yes. Covers everything there. So let's see. Any person who uses or possesses with intent to use any still, boiler, or other utensil for the purpose of producing distilled spirits, or aids or assists therein, or causes or procures the same to be done in any location prescribed above, shall be fined not more than $10,000 or imprisoned not more than 5 years, or both, for each offense. You get 5 years for running a still in your house. The plaintiff sued, alleging these provisions are unconstitutional because they exceed Congress's enumerated powers. The plaintiffs are seeking declaratory relief and a permanent injunction. So there was a preliminary injunction hearing held March 28th, and it took the parties' contentions under advisement. Receiving no objection from either party, the court advanced plaintiffs' request for injunctive relief to the merits. Accordingly, the court now considers the entire record on the merits, treating the parties' filings as summary judgment briefs. And that's because they agree on all the facts. It's just who's now right. Summary judgment is appropriate when the moving party shows there's no genuine dispute as any material fact. And everybody agrees. The facts are the facts. It's just whether or not it's legal. And whether or not you're entitled to judgment is a matter of law. And guys, when you get to this, it becomes Federal Rule 56. It's not Rule 12 anymore. You guys have heard us talk about the 12B6 standard. Well, now when you get to this type of summary judgment, there's a Rule 56 summary judgment. And a dispute is genuine if the evidence presented would allow a reasonable jury to return a verdict for the non-moving party. And any fact is material when it might affect the outcome of a case. So here, neither party disputes that there are no factual issues at stake. So and like I said, it's which party is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. Are you allowed? Is it unconstitutional to prevent me from making hooch in my house? Well, let's get to that. The standing. The government says nobody has standing. And such a bullshit argument. Primarily because they have not suffered legal injury. Yes. Don't you love that? The government says, well, hey, it's only an injury if you try to do it. Ariel says actual moonshine. Yes, real moonshine. Making your own stuff. Cedar Rose, what is moonshine made from? Well, you take a bunch of water, some yeast, and some corn, and you let it ferment, and then you run it through heat, and then you condense it, and you can make alcohol. I mean, that's kind of like the 30,000 foot view. So you could do it with with rye and wheat. Like this is wheat whiskey. You could do it with all kinds of whiskey, and you could do it with potatoes and make vodka. There's a million ways you could do stuff. There are so many ways to make alcohol, but that's the general idea. Basically, anything that starch or sugar. Yes. Yes. So let's keep going. The analysis. Article 3 standing is a bedrock constitutional requirement that courts have applied to all manner of disputes. Because this Article 3 confines federal courts' jurisdiction to cases and controversies, federal courts are not public forums for citizens to press general complaints about the government. Correct. So it only exists when a plaintiff has standing to sue. Thus, every court must ask, what's it to you? And this is a law review comment and a law review article written by Antonin Scalia. Yes, that Judge Scalia in 1983. The correct answer requires three things. And this is Lujan versus Defenders of Wildlife. This is actually a very important standing case. You guys have ever heard of this before? It's actually kind of big. First, there must be a concrete injury in fact. Second, there must be causation, a fairly traceable connection between the plaintiff's injury and the complaint of conduct by the defendant. And third, there must be redressability, a likelihood the requested relief will really cure that injury. So the individual standing here. So future injury may suffice if the threatened injury is certainly impending or imminent, or if there's substantial risk that the harm will occur. Future injury is not merely possible. It has to be, because imminence cannot be stretched beyond its purpose. The alleged injury can't be too speculative. So when you're trying to bring a pre-enforcement challenge to a criminal statute, and this is what, remember guys, this is a criminal statute. Even though it's in the tax code, it's a felony. It's a felony. And what are you looking at? Up to 5 years. So, like 5 years. So this is a challenge to it. You don't have to break the law. Now, you can break in and become a test case and you'll automatically have standing, but that's a really shitty way to go about this. Personally, I would never want to do it that way. Would never want to do it that way. So you must demonstrate a realistic danger of sustaining a direct injury from its enforcement. Yeah, I mean, go to prison for 5 years would be a direct injury, in my opinion. But plaintiffs who intend to engage in prescribed conduct allegedly protected by the Constitution do not need to expose themselves to actual arrest or prosecution. And that's important because otherwise, yes, the only way you could ever have standing would be to go break the law. And then, yeah, that's a horrible way to do it, though. Well, I hope I'm covered. Ugh. Be a little scary, man. So where the hell is... Why is this doing that? So they point out where the plaintiff raises a pre-enforcement challenge to a federal statute, the injury of fact requirement is satisfied where the plaintiff shows a serious intention to engage in a course of conduct arguably affected with the constitutional interest, but prescribed by a statute, and there exists a credible threat of prosecution thereunder. And this isn't a case where the government may or may not do it. If you are selling and just making untaxed alcohol, they will fucking come after you. The ATF will not be cool with you having untaxed alcohol. I mean, they are very serious about it. Do not, this is where you don't jerk them around, because they will fucking get involved. They will get involved. They will get involved. Where is... So, so the plaintiff's intent must be serious, and the threat of prosecution must be credible. So when they talk about this, isn't the court's first tasting of pre-enforcement challenges, and they talk about a case, Paxton versus Ristanio, and they said in this court it was a similar pre-enforcement challenge to federal statutes requiring individuals who wish to make a silencer at home to first apply for the tax stamp. The Fifth Circuit affirmed this court's dismissal for lack of standing because the individual plaintiffs neither alleged the intent to violate the law, nor alleged enough specifics to demonstrate the seriousness of their intent. As a result, they could not have faced a credible threat of prosecution, but here the difference is true. Here's the difference, though, and this is stuff you need to consider. If you want to do advocacy and you want to engage in lawfare, these are things you have to show. You've shown a serious intent to engage in the conduct that you believe is effective with a constitutional interest. The statutes at issue make it a crime to possess a still with intent to produce distilled beverages on residential property, among other locations. And all individual plaintiffs allege an intent to distill beverage alcohol, but for the federal prohibition, which I can't believe without reading this case. How did you not convince this court? I'm going to make a silencer unless you tell me I can't. I just don't understand how you fail to do this. Because they will arrest you for it. It's illegal. It's up to 10 years of prison and a $250,000 fine. I mean, I'm not going to go violate the NFA openly. So I don't understand why it didn't pass muster here. But this does. But hey, whatever. Whatever. All right. At least one plaintiff currently operates a still in the shed on his property, permitted for distilling ethanol. And that's one of the uses you can do. You can get a permit to distill ethanol for fuel purposes. Scott McNutt. Another currently possesses a still in his garage that he's used to produce ethanol in the past. Another possesses a permit to redistill alcohol at his place of business and could easily transport one of his business stills to his residence. And the fourth has become proficient at making beer and wine at home and has identified only one missing part, a condenser to repurpose before his home still is operable. Again. In short, each of these plaintiffs is no more than one overt act away from criminal liability under the challenge statutes. Yes, they are. They're right there. But that's like, because I can't, and the way they did this with the silencer, it's like you can't possess silencer parts. The ATF considers that like you're building the silencer, you're possessing the silencer. So you'd have to I have a baffle stack. And even then, I'd be careful about having that, because if you have a tube the baffle stack fits in, oh boy. So there's just the way the government fucking does this. They say, likewise, all individual plaintiffs possess the requisite expertise to distill beverage alcohol if they wanted to. One plaintiff already crafted a recipe for apple pie vodka. I don't know. I'd try that. Another guy is proficient at home brewing beer and wine and knows how to equip his still to produce liquor. Another guy is Plaintiff Morris is no joke either. He's a certified bourbon steward, which he's a bourbon sommelier. I'm sure he wears like a waxed down mustache too, and puts beard oil in his beard, which that shit's so gay. He also operates a company called Brewhouse, a company currently allowed to redistill alcohol. And the other guy is an electrical engineering degree from the United States Coast Guard Academy, and currently distills alcohol for fuel and understands the chemistry of distilled alcohol is nearly identical regardless of its use. And that's true. Distilled alcohol for use is nothing more than high-proof vodka. If you decide to use corn or grain to make alcohol, then all of a sudden you're making whiskey, and that's correct. And depending on the grain you're using, you're making bourbon. And some of these plaintiffs know what they want, what they need. They know what they want, what they need to do it, and how to make it happen. Thus, the plaintiffs show a very serious intent to engage in the conduct. I mean, really, I think, there's a lot of people like I could put me on the category to making my AR-15s full auto. Second, the threat of prosecution for such conduct is credible. One plaintiff received an unsolicited letter from the defendant TTB called Notice of Potential Civil and Criminal Liability. Signed by the Trade Investigations Division, states, it has come to the Alcohol Tax and Trade Bureau's attention that you may have purchased still capable of producing alcohol and or equipment and materials that may be used in the manufacture of a still. I like how the court's just sitting here and he goes, he's like, I just love this comment. I love this comment from the judge. And he goes, troubling, right? Oh, God damn it. Why is it doing that? Whatever. He goes, troubling, right? Yeah. Gives you a little scariness. Oh, no. Yeah, that makes you a little nervous. Imagine that if you bought something and the Fed said, hey, fuck it, I'm not going to do it in red. Imagine you bought something and the Fed's like, hey, we see you bought a tube. We're worried you might make that tube into a suppressor there, buddy. And they point out the unlawful production of distilled spirits is a criminal offense, punishable by a fine of up to $500,000 and imprisonment for not more than 5 years. The court does say, as a matter of principle, this court is distressed at an impropriety contained in the letter. Regardless of the reader's level of comfort with the government receiving purchase data and using that data to forewarn ne'er-do-well citizens about potential criminal liability, this court is highly disturbed the letter attempts to threaten a $500,000 fine when the statutory maximum is only $10,000. Yeah, shame on those cops. Shame on the feds. The letter finally reminds recipients that anyone wishing to produce alcohol for whatever purpose first must obtain the necessary federal permits. And there's federal permits. If you're doing it to sell it for consumption, you have to have like bonding, like insurance and bonds you pay for. There's all kinds of stuff. And yes, you also have tax stamps, just like with guns. And yes, we had a revolution over a Stamp Act. And now we pay for tax stamps. I mean, God, we are cucked as a people. We are cucked as a people. E cuccus unum. Out of many cucked, we all. Even though TTB knows that the Tax and Trade Bureau Notice that no permit will be considered for the home distillation of beverage alcohol in any case. Yes. Though this letter does not make it certain plaintiffs will be prosecuted, it certainly makes it credible. The government received plaintiffs' information from somewhere, and he says, the government conceded identified plaintiffs by obtaining customer information from manufacturers of still equipment. The government further argued because it sent many of these notices, these plaintiffs have not experienced an individualized threat of prosecution. You know, the court's like, yeah, actually, I don't agree with that. Rather, any one of these recipients would be able to assert a credible threat of prosecution. I think so too. It was able to identify and notify those citizens who purchased equipment. Accordingly, these notices of potentially criminal. Yeah. Now you know where I came up with the title and the name of the channel. Our liability are one step short of a target letter. One step short of a target letter. I hope you never, guys, I hope you never get one of those. It will make I've seen them before. They make assholes just, you can crack walnuts with your butt cheeks when those happen. Ordinarily issued in criminal investigations. Yes. Because the courts have advanced this matter to summary judgment, the plaintiffs must each produce sufficient evidence standing. The receipt of the notice is critical for determining the credibility of prosecution. Without a plaintiff's sincere intent to engage in conduct is not enough. The sincere intent must be accompanied by a threat of prosecution. Yes. Here, though, only and without the liability notice, a plaintiff may, and I love this, hypothetically intend to break the law with no threat of retribution, which I think is so funny. Imagine that you're going to court. Well, Your Honor, you never sent a letter to my client saying, naughty, naughty, don't do that. We win. No, it's not going to work. No. So I love how the court's like, yeah, I don't think it'll work either. So here, only one plaintiff received such a notice. Plaintiff McNutt received that notice. Therefore, on the present record, only Plaintiff McNutt has established a sincere intent to engage in the conduct while facing a credible threat of prosecution. Accordingly, the remaining individuals will be dismissed. Okay, well, that's why you have multiple parties. And if you notice, they picked these multiple people as individuals that were fairly diverse in what they were doing and who they were. Because that way you cover your bases. If everybody's identical and you lose, then they're all gone. So that's why they did this with these people who have a diverse for this type of situation and issue. Oh, gee, what the hell? Well, that's great. Good job, Bose. Always brew in a bathtub. The Freds come pull the plug. Yeah. Coca sugar is just sugar, right? Sounds like Nick planning on taking a new hobby. Yes. Spicer, Minnesota's very own cocaine whiskey. Oh. That would be hilarious. That would be so much fun. Hold on here. Where Cedar Rose is making wine must be different. We didn't need one. Yeah, you don't need any permission to make wine at home or brew beer. That's something that doesn't matter anymore. So, let's see here. What are you guys saying? Yes, personal use. It doesn't work that way. Oh, it doesn't work that way, chat. I wish it did. Nick might give medicinal moonshine to his child with April. Yeah. Oh. All right. Well, anyways, the government argues the prescribed behavior is still not affected because while the plaintiffs in this case claim Congress lacked the constitutional authority to enact the provisions, they do not assert a claim the statute violates any constitutional protected right. They're saying you don't have a right. You don't have a right to make alcohol. You know, that's the government. Show me in the Constitution where you have a right to make booze. This rebuttal is unavailing. The question of whether the Constitution or any court has recognized a particular right under the Constitution should not be conflated with the public's interest in ensuring that Congress has not acted beyond its enumerated powers. Indeed, the restrictions on government power in many Americans' minds are likely to be affirmative prohibitions, such as contained in the Bill of Rights. These affirmative prohibitions come into play only where the government possesses authority to act in the first place. If no enumerated power authorizes Congress to act, that law may not be enacted, even if it would not violate any of the express prohibitions in the Bill of Rights or elsewhere in the Constitution. Yes. Thus, a plaintiff need not to allege the violation of an articulated right to keep Congress in its lane. And I love that, an articulated right to keep Congress in its lane. Plaintiff McDutt has just done that. He has demonstrated a legal interest that could be lost if he is prosecuted for engaging in conduct he believes Congress has no power to prohibit. McNutt therefore suffered an injury in fact sufficient for Article 3 standing. Yes, stay in your lane, Congress. Stay in your lane. Yin Yang Dynasty says, damn, I'm not in the Fifth Circuit. Well, oh. The government next contests redressability and causation. In some, the government contends that distilling activities would still be subject to various state and local restrictions and requirements. True. But plaintiffs contend they cannot have a state or local permit until a federal permit is issued. Thus, the plaintiffs have established the causation of redressability because the federal ban on home distilling is the necessary prerequisite to complying with any other law, regardless of whether they're the subject of the suit. Apparently, there's an argument that Texas law prohibits at-home distilling in the first place because it only applies to illicit beverages, which they argue whiskey is not. And they also point out the government feds give me a permit. I can get a permit, therefore it's not illicit anymore. Notwithstanding this, they talk about New Jersey. And New Jersey law allows distilling and mixing beverages for immediate personal use, so long as the still is registered with the state. Which that's actually a surprise. I am surprised on that. In the state of New Jersey, where it's like everything else is regulated, you can have a still. Now, obviously, okay, yes, they're having to register it. But I'm surprised in New Jersey you can own a still. That is actually like slightly based for the state of New Jersey. Notice I said slightly. I'm not saying they're based. I won't go that far. So they talk about similar to standing of pre-denial of benefits challenge. McNutt is standing to challenge the federal prohibition here because it is the first hurdle to any permit he can receive from the state or local authorities. So the rest of this is the big citation, and we're going to skip through it because it's not necessary to us. To be sure, this is not an equal protection case. But the basic principles are illustrative of why the government's theory of causation fails. Where a plaintiff's remedy hangs in part on compliance with state law, but that compliance is prevented by federal statute, the federal government does not get to rebuff causation by claiming, it's not me, it's the states. If no one had standing to challenge the federal government's overreach statutory authority, merely because there could be a state law they had to pursue next, then the government could knock the wind out of any state's authority on any subject when the jurisdiction it shares with feds. Federalism would indeed give way to pure subjugation. Well, let's be real. That's kind of how it works right now. I mean, I'm just saying, chat. I'm just saying. Earl Ward says, stupid government. Oh, you got to say it right. Stupid government trying to prevent our children from taking medicinal cocaine. Who are they, doctors? But they talk about supremacy of the Constitution must be respected where states seek to subvert it by exempting its citizens from the operation of a valid federal law. And that's the silencer case they're talking about. But this case is one where, rather than vindicating a state law in conflict with the federal one, the issue is whether Congress exceeded its enumerated powers in enacting the prohibition in the first place. So now the court turns to whether the hobby distillers have standing. So we got one guy who survived. So associational standing. Associations have standing when its members would otherwise have standing to sue in their own right. And that makes sense. You could sue as a group if your members can sue individually. The interests are germane to the organization's purpose. So the hobby distillers are going to sue for distilling. They can't sue over why do I need to have a tail number on my airplane. And neither the claim asserted nor the relief requested requires the participant of individual members in the lawsuit. If the associate can satisfy those requirements, we allow them to join. And they talk about it first. Plaintiff Scott McNutt has individual standing because he's a member of the Hobby Distillers Association. So that passes. Second, the Distillers Association is the trade name of a Texas corporation, and they have over 1,300 members nationwide. Educating on the process involved distilling alcohol. Its leader, the guy named Rick Morris, one of the guys who got kicked out already, is the bourbon steward. Because relief it seeks is germane to its purpose, and yeah, that makes sense because of the Distillers Association. They meet the second hunch requirement, which makes sense. Third, their claim that Congress exceeded its enumerated powers does not require the participation of its members to pursue. The request for declaratory and injunctive relief does not require an individual member's participation either. Claims for declaratory and injunctive relief are not like monetary damages asserted on behalf of someone else who would be required to participate. Here, the association merely seeks the relief so that it may fulfill its purpose, without advocating that its members commit a felony. So standing has been met. We are go. Just like when NASA's launching, Capcom, go flight. Standing, go flight. Stills, go flight. For the above reasons, the court concluded that only the individual and the association could go forward. So therefore, the other individuals, these guys, Rick Morris, Thomas Cowdrey, and John Price, are therefore dismissed. Now, the merits of it. The taxation power of Congress, chat. Here we go. This is now. Now we get into the fucking. We got done with the foreplay. Now it's time to whip it out. Here we go. Here we go, chat. This is brown chicken, brown cow time. Plaintiffs first contend that 26 U.S.C. 5601 and 5178 are not proper uses of Congress's taxing power. Can you guys read this at all? I forgot to ask this earlier. Can you guys read what I'm highlighting? I think so. Now we'll turn it down a little bit more. There we go. Alex says, now we're fucking like that dumbass on an American Airlines plane today. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We fucking now. The government responds the provisions at issue are valid uses of the taxing power because they ensure protection of and reduce fraud upon the tax revenue generated on distilled spirits. Yes. The laws against this ensure that there's no fraud committed on the taxing. Like, how does that I'm not going to say it's tautological, but I feel like we're almost into a tautological reason there. Not opaque enough, maximum opacity. Yeah. All right, guys, hold on 1 second real quick. All right, chat, I'm back. Yeah, to me, that seems like it's almost a tautology. These are proper uses of the taxing power because they ensure protection and reduce fraud upon the tax revenue generated on distilled spirits because of our taxing power. I mean, I don't know. Dr. Coffinail says twice in one day. Homie, we go like sometimes 3 times in a day. Just railing it in and out, man. All while practicing. The court concludes that neither Congress's enumerated taxing power nor its incidental powers sustain the provisions as enacted. Oh, I love this. It does sound like circular logic. I wish Matt was here already because I'd ask him about this one. Because I'm like, to me, it seems like, the idea that, a tautology. It is because it is. I mean, unless I'm an idiot, and Matt is more constitutionally fluent than I am, I think at times. And I'd say by at times, most of the time. I think you'd understand, like, I'm a little confused by that, but that argument. MLP says, what state is this? This is the Northern District of Texas. This is federal court. So it's the 5th Circuit. All right. So the enumerated power to lay and collect taxes. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution grants the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. Put simply, Congress may tax and spend. Yes. As Schoolhouse Rock says, provide for the common defense and promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. This power of the purse, very, 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 very trans-inclusive language now that you think about it, grants Congress a broad power to tax and spend on things it cannot directly regulate through some other enumerated power. They point out, it is true that the power of Congress is a very extensive power given in the Constitution with only one exception and 2 qualifications. Thus, Congress may reach any subject through taxation so long as it, 1, does not tax exports, and 2, appropriations direct taxes among the states, and 3, imposes indirect taxes uniformly across the nation. So, too, Congress can reach any subject with spending, go insofar as you use federal funds to induce a state's compliance and regulating subjects otherwise unreachable by Congress. In South Dakota v. Dole is the one where they withheld highway funds until raising the drinking age of 21. So that's what happened, because South Dakota still had it at 18. That's when everything got raised to 21. The government extorted the government of South Dakota. Battle L says the taxes for Ukraine are unconstitutional. Well, there's that too. There's that as well. I mean, I'm not saying yeah. Salami Ukraine, chat. Yes. That's oh no, chat. Oh no. Anyway, where is oh, here's where it is. I forgot. Edit name and headline. I forgot to put it back up there. So there we go. We need to take that down for a minute. And just so you guys know, yes, Fab 1500s for Kiev, as many as they can handle. Why not Fab 3000s? Because those are a little hard to get a hold of, it seems like. But even the broad power is not limitless. Congress could certainly tax its way to burning or influencing behavior like marijuana to discourage its use in 1950. We can't let them smoke weed, chat. You let them smoke weed, they start listening to swing music. Congress's authority over the taxing power is limited to requiring an individual to pay money to the federal treasury, no more. If a tax is properly paid, the government has no power to compel or punish individuals subject to it. I mean, that makes sense. If I paid the tax, leave me the fuck alone. They say to determine whether statutory provision is an appropriate use of the taxing power, courts look to its function over its form. And they say, so courts may consider how the exaction is assessed, by what mechanisms it is collected, and which agency is responsible for its enforcement to determine whether something Congress codifies as a tax is really a tax. So they say neither placing a provision with a certain title of the United States Code, nor nicknaming it as shared responsibility payment, determines whether Congress' taxing power authorizes it. Every tax must produce some revenue for the government, period. Indeed, the production of revenue, however negligible as any tax's essential feature, including the NFA. Thus is mindful that every reasonable construction must be resorted to in order to save a statute from unconstitutionality. You know, which you're like, wait, why is a court saying that? But it's okay. Yes. Bushmaster says, I'm going to put all my room radiators on eBay. Do not use radiators to condense your alcohol. That's how you die. Especially automotive radiators, where there's like lead inside of them to solder joints and all kinds of nasty shit, including antifreeze. Laura M says, hi, relatively new here. Just got a notification about getting a gifted membership. I just want to drop by to say thanks to whatever kind member here gifted. Well, you're welcome, Laura. And we're actually talking about tonight why a judge is allowing people to still moonshine and why it's legal. So thank you for joining. Yes, but the lead adds flavor. Okay. Oh. And Balm says antifreeze. What do you think alcohol is? Okay, yes. Yes, you can chug a glass of corn whiskey. I'm not going to chug a glass of Prestone. Okay. Durna says copper piping is pretty easy to work with. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't know why people poison themselves with random junk. Yes. Oh. Jeff says, I hear antifreeze tastes like Kool-Aid, like old antifreeze. Yeah. Not anymore. So, the court concludes here that these are not within Congress's taxing power. Now, here's the thing, chat. As much as I think this guy's based, I don't think this survives the Fifth Circuit. Remember, it's the government. The government's not going to say, yep, you can't pass this tax. I mean, we didn't even check this, but how much revenue does the U.S. government get from taxing alcohol? Okay, well, yeah, okay, according to the taxpolicycenter.org. Let me see here. Let's click down. Where is it here? All right. Yeah, here we go, chat. This is important, I guess. This is from taxpolicycenter.org. So here we go. Tobacco excise taxes, real quick. Tobacco excise taxes. So if you guys are noticing this, and Papa potentially criminal, my compadre, is noticing it because he's depending on where he's at, he buys different logs dip. Says revenue from tobacco taxes total $11.3 billion in 2022. Fucking excise taxes. Ooh. The tax equals $1 per pack of 20 cigarettes. Alcohol excise taxes. So yeah, you see $13 billion or $11 billion. The excise tax from alcoholic beverages was $10.2 billion. There you go, chat. There's a lot of fucking money at stake. Between booze and smokes, you're looking at almost $22 million. Yep, mindset, exactly. 100%. 100%. And also, if you're I just sent you a link if you want to stop by, but I know you might be busy doing stuff. So this is yes, a whopping 1/2700th of the federal budget. Yes, but they will kill you for that. They will kill you for that 2700th. They will kill you for it. Kat says, can I sell bathtub moonshine on my DoorDash? Not yet, but maybe. They talk about first 5601 and 5178 do not raise revenue. These two sections simply prohibit the placement of a distilled spirits plant in any house, shed, anywhere like that. Second, compared to its textual neighbors, they make no mention of the Secretary of the Treasury, the Commissioner of the Internal Revenue generally, nor the protection of revenue. These sections require the applicant for a distilling permit to truthfully describe the proposed premise for the operation, and allows the secretary to prescribe such regulations as the location, construction, arrangement, and protection of the premises as he deems necessary to facilitate inspection and afford adequate security to the revenue. Like this is so the adequate security of the revenue, chat. It's my precious. And it allows the secretary to retroactively approve any existing plant that predates the statute if he deems that such location, construction arrangement will afford adequate security to the revenue. They go to statutory construction is a holistic endeavor. Its limitations on a reach are as much a part of the purpose of what as specifications of what is to be done. Written by Antonin Scalia and Brian A. Gardner. And Brian A. Gardner is actually, I think he teaches down at the University of Texas. He is a big timer in legal writing. If you legal write, the citation manual is called the Blue Book. He actually wrote a legal writing book called the Red Book. And he's a very big legal writing guy, in addition to being an attorney and a law professor. So it's invariably true that intelligent drafters do not contradict themselves. Well, yes, and we don't have intelligent drafters here, chat. We don't. Iowa Lawman says, the more I learned of taxes and how much Uncle Sam made me more of an ANCAP I become. Yeah. Yep. I understand. Yes. Yes. There's a couple of super chats we need to get to real quick though too. Here it says Popcorn Sutton was a bad dude. Joe Biden, apparently, probably. Yes. Squizgar says local guy around here used to make awesome apple pie shine. Junior Johnson used to run shine on the highway 1 mile from my house. Yeah, those are some names. Popcorn Sutton, Junior Johnson. There's some big names in the legend in the moonshining communities. Squizgar, like that show though, that shitty show on Discovery Channel, they weren't actually doing anything illegal. Those guys like were all running moonshine with liquor operations. Squizgar says, I wish we could just get rid of the monopoly of the American Business College here in North Carolina. Yes, so alcohol beverage control, ABC. There are many states that have that. And liquor agents and the beverage control runs the liquor stores. It's like in Ohio, the liquor stores, there are many state-run liquor stores. It's such garbage, and the state buys the alcohol and then sells it to liquor stores. And that's not how it should be. Muriel says West Virginia recently legalized moonshining for personal use. Well, there we go. It's my personal use still. Mofolk says this is the result of Chevron defense getting murked. No, this is just based shit going down. Benjamin Lewis says, do Missouri residents have to pay marijuana tax stamps? I don't know, man. That's up to you. And then Tyler A says, sounds like you should be Jeremy DeWitt's lawyer. I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment, because I'm not going to lie. If you told me, like, it's one thing if Jeremy DeWitt came to my office, like, can you hire me? And I'd be like, no. But it's another thing you forced, like, I was appointed and I couldn't quit. I'm probably going to be like this after about 10 minutes, just like, just seeing if I can leave my teeth marks on a pistol before I go. That'll be the feat. And then Jeff, N4 Pod, says, you know who invented the silencer? The same guy that founded the largest ham radio organization lobbyist group, the American Radio Relay League. Oh no. I thought Hiram Maxim was so based. Oh no. Mindset, help me. I have a lot of ham people in my chat, and I'm like, no. Oh. So how are you doing, man?
Oh, hey, good. Like I'm in the chat. How's it going, brother? No, I'm in between. I'm in between work calls.
No, he's a ham. He's a sad ham.
He's sad ham. Yeah. But I'm in between work calls, so I do have to jump quick. But I saw the same thing you saw. I think the same link went out on Twitter, and I was like, "Is this bullshit?" Like, let me actually verify this. And
it is. Yeah, it is cool, and it's funny because there's a nationwide injunction, and all these on law Twitter, they're like, "This is so wrong," and I'm like, "I can't believe this is happening," and I'm like, "Did you guys forget about Hawaii judge?"
Yeah,
all throughout Trump's presidency, like. We've been doing this. Now it's going the other way.
Right. And now that we, and I was wondering like what the basis was and like looking into the rationale. And I was like, are they going to go? Because we're going to get the million Chevron reviews, right? So now the post, death of Chevron reviews. But this looks like, based on what I've been seeing you go over so far, it seems like they're challenging it on a more broad swath of authority, of statutory authority.
Yes.
Right now, like I said, I think, and I said this in the chat, trying to challenge something on taxing authority is an uphill battle because they interpret that very broadly with taxing authority. So that's one thing that the SCOTUS has not scaled back yet. So I don't know if this, like, how far this makes it up the food chain.
That's my thing. Like, this is the problem. You get some judge who does something really based, and
right.
You're going to get to you know, Tabby's right. Hold on. Yeah, you're right. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Run the clip.
No, actually, I don't. I have time. We don't have time. So you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's like, okay. And peace.
Yes. Yep. There you go. So yeah, he is right though. He is right though. It's you know, this is going to get to the Fifth Circuit, but remember, the higher you go? Yes, Clarence Thomas sounds very based at times, but is Clarence Thomas going to say, you know, Sean, actually, you're right. Just have a crate full of grenade launchers in your garage.
No,
have fun, bro. Yeah.
And beyond that, it's pretty like the support for taxing authority is pretty bipartisan.
Yes.
So that's something that kind of cuts across party lines.
Yes.
So I don't think that we're going there.
Yeah.
Really
and even though we're in the age of like, you can just print more money. Why do you need my taxes? Sure. But yes, as I was pointing out, the government taxing alcohol goes all the way back to George Washington leading troops into battle to fight people trying to avoid paying alcohol taxes. I mean, that it goes back all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yes, we won the revolution, and now the government says, pay up, motherfuckers.
And like you said, it's big money. So the financial incentive is there for them to enforce this because they're losing out so much. I mean, and like you said, that was just the fucking IRS side of things. Pretty much the vice taxes, you know, cigarettes and booze, you know, account for this giant swath of their paycheck. So now you're coming for these government employees' paychecks. Yeah, they're going to have a vested interest in this.
And they'll kill you over this, chat. They will kill you for this stuff.
That's not a fucking
even at the
joke.
State level.
That's not a fucking joke. That's not a joke.
No.
And the thing is, this is something that, you know, if they allowed it to, like, think about the secondary and tertiary effects of this, right? Like, if they're allowing people to distill their own spirits, how wild that shit would get pretty much right away. Well, I mean,
there'd be a steep learning curve right off the bat.
Yeah, that's true.
There'd be a lot of blind people.
It's true, though.
Braille sales, the Braille industry would go through the roof. That's it there, chat. Buy Braille coin now.
It's very true. Walking canes would spike the economy for walking canes.
Get into the service dog industry. You'll be... Oh God!
But I mean, this is very. I mean, but this, you know, talking about statutory construction. I mean, this is more like dry. I mean, okay.
Yes.
You know, it is invariably true that intelligent drafters do not contradict. That's a good line.
Well, we don't have intelligent drafters.
We have a bunch of retards writing law.
We've never had intelligent drafters.
Right. You know, and look, when, especially nowadays with the length of bills that are thousands of pages long, there's going to be, there's bound to be internal contradictions. So,
yes. And also, real quick,
intentional.
And Ariel's saying, you heard about Alec Baldwin, right?
I've been trying to keep up on it. I should be stream sniping it, but
okay. So what happened is they, in the middle of the Hannah Reid trial, somebody brought some ammo over, like, hey, this ammo is similar to the ammo found there. You guys should take a look at this. And they basically boxed it up and put a different report number on it, and it like disappeared.
Oh no.
And it came out of trial. And yes. And because it's a special prosecutor, so she was like on, so the special prosecutor was there. Her assistant, this morning, like the judge got down off the bench and was examining the exhibits. She's like, open up this envelope. I want to see these. Wow. And like, because the prosecutor said, oh, well, they're different. I remember it. Well, what happened was the prosecutor knew about it. She's like, yeah, I determined they weren't relevant. And the defense, like, we never knew about these till today. And obviously part of Baldwin's argument was about like all the ammunition getting fucked around with.
Right.
So the judge goes through her shit. She sent the jury home like almost immediately in the morning. And it got to the point where Carrie Morrissey got on the stand herself.
So we've got a Brady violation situation potentially.
Oh, big Brady situation. And she ended up getting on. She voluntarily took the stand like Fannie Willis.
Wow.
And Alec Baldwin's attorney fucking cross-examined her. And in the middle of that cross-examining, he says, isn't it true in one of your interviews you call my client a cocksucker? And she's like, no. And he's like, are you sure? Are you know, like, she's like, I don't recall. And that's the thing. She's like, what interview? I don't recall. Not that, like, no. It's like, I don't have an answer for you. And you're like, and he says, isn't it true you hate my client? You called him an arrogant prick. And she's like, no, I love Alec Baldwin. I love his movies. And I respect his political opinions.
Sure,
like,
sure.
That's what she said. And after a while, the judge just fucking nuked the boots off of him.
Oh, that's
dismiss with
glorious.
prejudice. It's done.
That's great. That's great. So
right before they had the hearing this afternoon, the Brady hearing, the lady who did the opening arguments, the other state's prosecutor, resigned. She quit before the hearing. She fucking walked off the job. And she just gave an interview to Chris Cuomo and was like, yeah, I thought this was fucked, and I realized she was lying. I bailed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess this affects Hannah's case too.
It does a bit, but there's other issues that Alec Baldwin's team got a hold of extra reports from the gun expert that Hannah never got, that nobody knew about. So there's some Brady violations on that side of it too. Wow. There's a lot of Brady violations. Hannah might get a new trial. Hopefully she gets a new attorney, but I have a feeling the judge may throw her case out too. Now, the judge was a very pissed off woman.
Yeah, that is spicy. That is spicy.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes cases get good. That's when it gets good. These are the good moments, right? These are the good moments. Well, I appreciate the update, Sean. I really got to bounce though.
All right, I'll take care, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, hang out, and I'll be by to hang out another time.
But sure. Take care. Guys, Legal Mindset over at Legal Mindset, here on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, and wherever else. The judge really hates Carrie now. Well, I'm sure she probably already did before. So anyways, we'll find out what happens with Hannah later. We'll talk about that. We might do that tomorrow. Hey, let's get back to this. I understand this is statutory review, but guys, this is on a pretty cool topic, like whether or not you can have alcohol. So they point out that Congress did not say revenue in that statute. And no reasonable construction can turn these into revenue generating. So it turns into the issue here where there's no enforcement officer with discretion to judge whether these premises could nonetheless be adequately constructed to afford adequate security to the revenue. By preventing the disguise, hiding it, a hidden still, or withholding of non-tax paid product. Don't you love that? You love how they talk about that? I should let Ralph play out Legal Mindset. Sure, we'll play him out, chat.
Legal Mindset! Legal Mindset! Legal dick suckers, more like it.
Godspeed, Andrew. Godspeed. But I love this. You're preventing the withholding of non-tax paid product, chat. Oh my gosh. Still, and I love how the judge just comes in here on his own arguments. Stills at home for huge are simply not allowed. Oh my God. I love this. This is so based. Oh. Aaron's saying, does the system have to be revenue positive to be considered revenue generating? Yes. It just by a little bit. Even if it generates like $1, it's good enough. Thus, Congress did nothing more than statutorily ferment a crime. You see what he did there? You see what he did there, chat? He's a funny guy. And they said, without any reference to taxation, exaction, or protection of revenue, or sums owed to the government. That puts these two sections as not a tax. The government argues it's a proper use of the taxing power to prevent concealment of stills and frauds on the revenue. But that conflates the enumerated taxing power with the incidental powers contained in the necessary and proper clause, which is a distinct inquiry. Yeah, that's going to be a barn burner of a discussion when we get to it, Chad. I'm sorry about that part. Yes, the home still violation is a violation of the 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 23rd Amendments, according to Barnes. Just ask him. Misanthropic android. Misanthropic anthropoid. Wow. Says, there are times I love being a nobody. I can call Baldwin anything I want. I can call him anything I want, too. I can call him a cocksucker. He is. He's a not guilty cocksucker. Aaron says it really costs the ATF less than $200 to process a Form 4. It's not a tax to cover costs. It's an excise tax. That tax goes into funding, but it's an excise tax. The government's taxing conduct. There. So, 10K View says, do the feds have a high bar to pass for someone to become a distiller in the USA? Yes, if you want to open up if you comply, if you meet all the requirements, they will generally, there's more and more distilleries now. You just have to jump through the hoops, but it's not impossible. So, oh, you're saying it's from an NoFX song. Okay, sorry. I know them, but I don't know their shit that well. If I were able to bootleg a car in 2024, what platform would you build it on? Well, no, I'd be more worried about what kind of guns are you going to use to fight the feds when they come by. That's the bigger issue. So they point out what matters here is simple. Notwithstanding its placement in the Internal Revenue Code and a facially tangential imposed on spirits, these sections are enforced by a criminal penny lack the essential feature of any tax. And they say, because Congress authority of the tax power is limited, requiring an individual to pay money to the federal treasury, it follows that any law does not require one to pay money into the treasury is not an exercise of the taxing power. Because it's not, and just this guy, this judge is just being a smartass here. And this is the neat thing. Judges who like to be funny, but that is not the government's last call. Funny dad joke. Congress may still take necessary and proper actions to effectuate otherwise valid power. Without dispute that the Constitution vests in Congress the plenary power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, this positive question is whether the provisions at issue are necessary and proper on distilled spirits. So the necessary and proper clause. So Congress is to make all laws that are necessary and proper to carry into execution any enumerated power. Thus, Congress has broad power to enact statutes pursuant to their enumerated powers. Citing McCullough v. Maryland, another banger of from the Supreme Court, from 1819. But by its terms, the clause does not confer any substantive power or independent power beyond those enumerated. They point out that this does not give Congress carte blanche. So while necessary does not mean absolutely necessary, it does require an appropriate link between a power conferred by the Constitution and a law enacted by Congress. Kame sent in 4209 saying, just tuning in, is the title true? Based, if so. Yes. If you remember the the Hobby Distillers Association, yes. And appropriate or conductive does not mean convenient for the end Congress has in mind. The Constitution requires the law be necessary for the accomplishment, or in the words of the Constitution, of that end. Necessary proper standard has been long and finicky application. It is. It's a mess. But the Constitution's text is clear, and the textual supremacy of the Constitution is essential to the order of our system of government. Oh, and going back to the OG, the first #1 single dropped by the Supreme Court, Marbury v. Madison. Congress cannot give the Supreme Court appellate jurisdiction where the Constitution states that it shall be original nor original jurisdiction where the Constitution states it shall be appellate. And that's true. Congress can't fuck with the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction like that. But the dominant application of the clause remains Marshall's McCulloch interpretation. Let the end be legitimate, let it be within the scope of the Constitution, and all means which are appropriate, which are plainly adapted to that end, which are not prohibited, but consistent with the letter and spirit of the Constitution, are constitutional. And that has caused a lot of fucking problems in this country. So, just saying. McCulloch also recognized, as all must admit, the powers of the government are limited. Yeah, oh God. I'd love to see those guys today see that. And Justice Marshall later opined that the means which Congress chooses to execute its enumerated powers must have both necessary and proper qualities. And say these words are defined as indispensably requisite. And most certainly this is the sense in which the word necessary is used in the Constitution. To give it a more lax sense would be to alter the whole character of the government as a sovereignty of limited powers. Yeah, that didn't turn out to be how the government was viewed going forward. Thus, whether a law that is appropriate, needful, or requisite may still be improper if it is not consistent with the letter and spirit of the Constitution. Yes, oh, how that has changed. Oh, how that standard has gone away. Thus, a law that is necessary may still be improper when it violates the principles of limited federal government. Yeah, that's well, yes, thank you, Winter Soldier. What the white Justice Marshall, not the black Justice Marshall. And there is a difference. Not only just the 150 years. Oh. Yes, the principles of a limited federal government. If only that were something that actually fucking meant something. So they point out that the power to pass laws, necessary and proper, is a political power. It's a matter of legislative discretion. The more or less necessity never can enter as an ingredient in judicial decisions. And J-Rock, what did you say? Okay, see what somebody texted me. All right, hold on, chat. Here, a bunch of people messaged me saying that, yes, we saw the Erlinda thing. Oh, is Baldwin still trending on Twitter? Wow. Shit, where'd it go? Okay. According to the code, a necessary and proper clause must intend such powers as suitable. Such are the best and useful in relation. And a national bank was such an appropriate means. McCulloch v. Maryland involved the Bank of the United States. It was an entire... Go back and read it. Read on Wikipedia. It's actually not a bad way to learn about it. Oh. So they talk about that many courts have only required a reasonable or rational relationship to an existing tax regime to uphold an incidental congressional act. They talk about the case Felsenheld v. United States. The Supreme Court considered whether a law forbidding the placement of any foreign article inside cigarette packs was a valid use of the taxing power. There, a cigarette manufacturer inserted a coupon on each package rewarding the purchaser with various prizes. When the government seized 1,400 packs of smokes, the plaintiff sued. The court held it was fine for Congress to use its taxing power to describe that a package, what it could be, subject to tax, and upon which requiring of a stamp. And that's the thing. Cigarette packs, if you've ever seen them, come with stamps. Or if you've ever seen... who is it? MRE 1989 Steve. he actually opens up a pack of German smokes out of a ration pack, and they come with a tax stamp on them to show that they're not bootleg cigarettes. So relevant is that the manufacture and handling of goods are subjected to an internal revenue tax. Congress may prescribe any rule which it's not itself unreasonable. Such rules may be arbitrary but still constitutional. Isn't that awesome? So courts have extended this reasonableness standard to regulations ancillary to alcohol taxes. So far, several statutes regarding alcohol products have been upheld as incidental to Congress's power to tax spirits. Yes, Ag says those had stamps that said property of the United States government. Yep. Abel says, when was the first and last time you had a Zima? God, I don't know. How long ago? Like Zima itself, or are you going to try to make the joke White Claws or Zima? Because, like, I remember Zima as a kid. Like, we got a hold of those once in a while. And it was like, okay, well, that's what you got to drink when you're, like, 12 or 13. Like, it's too bad. So they talk about the prohibiting the refilling of distilled liquor bottles that have been stamped tax paid with another distilled liquid was reasonable. That's pretty based. You're like, empty liquor bottles and they're already stamped. I'm going to refill them. Oh, that's a pretty slick thing to do. I like that. Congress's prescription that distilled spirits could only be sold in certain sizes of bottles was reasonable to assist the government in assessing taxes. Regulation pertaining to labeling bottles for packing spirits included a tax-paid stamp was reasonable to assist in protecting revenue. Remember, protecting the revenue. They talk about, though, the problem here is those rules were integrally connected to the procedures for executing the tax at issue. Accordingly, the government applies the rules out of context. But the court says, no, it doesn't work that way. Rather, this entire court's ruling in Felsenheld determined how Congress can act when it needs to collect someone's money, which we know is the absolute limit of the taxing power. Those regulatory provisions only need to be reasonable to be sustained. Here, Congress regulated behavior separate from logistics of liquor taxes. The government admits that the distilled spirits tax does not attach until the substance is in existence, and operates as a first lien from the time the spirits are in existence, as such until the tax is paid. And that's true. That's how it operates. KB says Congress says we want all the monies. Pretty much. Yes, that's recycling, and it's brilliant recycling. J-Rock, yes, some bars, they fill premium brands with well bottles. But that's not what they're talking about here. Because, like, people are reselling it, refilling the liquor bottles, because then they can sell it and say, look, I paid the tax. So Congress always retains power to criminalize the violation of laws. Yep. But the valid incidental power to punish defrauding the federal government or making false statements does not mean Congress can prohibit every behavior which may result in fraud, especially if it is not within Congress's power. On this point, the government argues no court has recognized the liberty interest in making booze at home. Simply put, home distilling is not recognized at common law as essential to the orderly pursuit of happiness. But the government cited case has missed the maker's mark. God, this guy is just... He took so much pleasure in this. And they point out there's no national history of a liberty interest in possessing an open container. I disagree. No liberty interest in allowing the violation of a supervised release condition, prohibiting the possession or consumption of alcohol, and a child pornography conviction. Yes. So, while courts have not recognized the liberty interest in home distilling, that is not the relevant inquiry. Rather, the question is whether Congress exceeded its power in enacting a statute. Congress's incidental powers under the necessary and proper clause are not a whatever it takes to solve a national problem power. So Congress can do whatever it likes until it bumps into one's rights. It can only do what the Constitution says it can. If only that's how it actually worked. If only that's how it actually worked. If only that's how it actually worked. But we know that's not how it works anymore, sadly. So they say since Congress' taxing power is authoritative only from the time a tax liability arises to the point at which it is paid, the taxing power does not give Congress the same degree of control over individual behavior as the commerce power. So it follows that Congress cannot rely on a reasonable or rational connection to an existing tax to regulate every individual behavior occurring before that tax becomes effective. Thus, the standard is not whether they have a connection to revenue, but whether they are needfully and plainly adapted to executing the taxes on spirits. And he says they don't, because the provisions punish individuals that Congress cannot reach. The power to tax is a positive one. Well, Congress has the power to lay and collect taxes, and Congress has the power to punish those who would defraud the government in paying them. But these two provisions criminalize the conduct of persons not subject to the tax, because the tax liability exists only from the time the spirits are in existence until it's paid. And the point here is the judge is saying, remember, it's illegal to have the still in your house or on a boat. And because of that, it's not really a tax. Because if I don't make alcohol and it just sits there, I'm still breaking the law. These provisions are not plainly adapted to executing. Actually, real quick, that's a shame for 1999. Thank you. Says, in opinions like these, how much you think is taken straight from the brief versus the judge is going off? Like, is he adopting a party's argument or expressing his own opinion? Well, I think in this case, he's expressing an opinion that he agrees with. Like, he found an argument that supports his opinion. So, I mean, because you can tell he enjoyed writing this and putting it together. I think he enjoys thumping the alcohol and tax people with this, so. J-Rock says, go on Pacer and pull the brief. Dude, it's like 11th. It's like 12:30. We're going to read through this and we're probably going to be done. I can't go forever, man. I am only of flesh and bone. Oh. So, the plain text of the provisions make no reference to mechanism processes that protect revenue. They just prohibit the placement of stills, while other provisions touch the product to be taxed. Now, here's some of the things with stills. You have to set it up so as to prevent the removal of distilled alcohol before it can be measured by the still's gauge, which is how you determine how much tax you have to pay. And the Secretary of the Treasury requires still operators to notify the government they change or add to a distilling apparatus as the Secretary deems necessary to facilitate inspection and secure the precious revenue. By the way, that's a shame. Thank you for that. But yes, I agree. This is one of those times. Ammo's currency for $5 says moonshine is my culture. Soaking cinnamon sticks and apples in taxed vodka is cultural appropriation. Also make Applejack if you don't want to still. Yes. Truck Golfer, how you doing, man? It's been a while. Says, going to jail for making a drink. Where's the revolt? We're just sheep. Well, yeah, it's true. It's true. No, we ask for our tax stamps like good little boys. You know, that's like I said, we have cucked ourselves. We have cucked ourselves. Dr. Coffin Nail says purse power sounds kind of gay. Yeah, a little bit. Cat Not Williams, Cat, how you doing? Says gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. So there we go. We're all caught up. We are all caught up, chat. I have to take Clyde to violin practice. Yes. Yes, chat. Clyde's got a 6 a.m. violin recital. He's got a 6 a.m. violin recital. And then he's got to get a back massage from some Jamaican guy. Oh. In fact, Congress alternatively considered taxing stills themselves when these provisions were debated in 1867. And the Committee on Internal Revenue Fraud recommended that Congress reform the mechanism of spirits taxation as to lay the tax on distilled spirits on the capacity of the distillery. So there's ways they could have done this. And if Congress had done those, the criminalizing the location of these stills would likely be fair game because they're intertwined with the taxed goods. And if that were the case, the statutes would almost certainly be necessary and proper. Because the stills themselves measured by capacity would be subject to the tax. The government would not need to argue that the statutes protect the revenue from fraud because there would be an essential link between the tax and its collection. Sean has to drive people. Yes, it's very stressful, chat. It's so stressful. We have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and there's only 2 of us, chat. The cats have to go to birthday parties. They said Congress could prohibit stills in a myriad of places, like it can mandate package size of other taxable commodities. But Congress did not choose that method. Instead, Congress chose to keep the proof gallon as a measurement of tax. And Congress has criminally prohibited the simple possession of the apparatus used to produce that taxable commodity. It does so with a criminal provision that by its own text makes no meaningful connection to the mechanisms by which those taxes are assessed and collected. So they say that this arrangement's not meant to collect taxes and it's arbitrary. So, yes, and they point out neither the taxing power and the necessary and proper clause enact these 2 statutes. Oh, hi, Matt.
Hey, fuck you.
Hello. Hello, how are you
Hey,
doing?
are we on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I won't touch any guns.
Okay, sorry. Yes, we're talking about how the necessary and proper clause is being used to attack whether or not the laws that are being challenged here are you can't have a still in your house.
How much have
Or
you
in a
had to
dwelling.
drink? 'Cause you can't even fucking tell me what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm telling you what we're talking about. I have not had anything to drink yet.
You haven't?
No.
I have.
Well,
And I've been using heavy machinery.
you still have all your fingers? Atta boy.
I am pretty anal about that.
Those Chinese guys that get sucked in the machine are pretty anal about it too. When they get smacked around.
I think there's something else.
Yes.
But no, it did spook me today.
Yes.
Because I was doing a tool change to set the tools. And it set in my lathe is Chinese. It's a big Chinese CNC machine. So it settles and I'm like, okay, time to adjust the tool. And then the tool changer, which the Chinese translates to knife tower, looks and the knife tower looks exactly like it's described, just goes and sticks out and starts rotating. I'm like, and
shit. That sounds
Back out,
scary.
I was like, eh. So I do see how it happens.
Yes.
Oh, wow, you
Colostomy
got a
Bag
pretty
says
active-
it's Mr.
active
Draco
chat.
in the flesh.
Well. But yeah,
And,
so necessary and proper.
Yeah.
That's necessary and proper, which has been like fucked up beyond recognition worse. That
Yes.
or the Commerce Clause.
Well, and it's funny because this judge is just pointing out that these two provisions are not related to any part of the revenue as protecting the revenue. It's merely just them punishing people. And because of that, they're failing. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And Meat Candy has a question for you. Is the super safety good to go with the bump stock?
So for those of you who don't have like distinct gun autism, the super safety is I'm sure you guys have seen all of the like not a machine gun things, and I certainly think that not a machine gun, it's super certainly not a machine gun.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But for some reason, every like quarter wit is like attached to the super safety.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever any legal development happens in a gun case,
Mm-hmm.
every single time on my channel, the first comment is, how does this affect the super safety?
Yes.
Is the super safety good now? Is
Yes.
it confirmed legal? It's
Yes.
like,
And when it comes to super safety, all I can say is there's a reason why it's meant to be 3D printed and not made out of metal.
And
Something else to think about.
The worst part is that the designer of it,
yeah,
in the release video,
yes,
was like, yeah, I had this metal 3D printed in mainland China.
yes,
That's like,
yes.
don't say that. Fuck.
I know. There's
I mean,
so
cool,
many problems there.
Jesus. So that's one of the reasons I've just been like hands off on that whole thing. I'm like, please don't ask me about any of that. But
And if you guys don't remember, Matt was involved in the defense of Matt Hoover in the auto key card case. He's also actually involved in the appeal of Tate Adiyamak, who's a Navy guy who got sent to prison for selling torch cut machine gun parts.
Yep.
And got fucked. So that's another interesting one that's kind of chugging along right now. So
yep.
keep your guys'
I
eyes
also
peeled for
did
that. Some good news, hopefully.
I have the only successful pistol brace challenge. Well, the first successful one, not in Texas.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Well. Yeah. So and also
The job
provided,
done well says rip stream. This is
no, it's still up. It's still up. They were making a joke, I think, if you're grabbing something. I don't know. But also you are behind one of the, well, it depends who you ask. One of the images used in the bump stock case.
Oh,
Depending who you ask.
God, that's so fucking retarded.
And some people would say they came up with it on their own.
Yeah, the ex-construction worker who's still like, there's no evidence he's ever held a gun.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. No, so that whole thing is so funny because I never once claimed to make the images. Like, I wrote the brief.
Yes.
I fixed their images because they were trying to show how a semi-automatic trigger worked and were using images of a fully automatic lower. So I fixed that, had more made. And then what's funny is the last brief that they used, they put the machine gun images back, but kept my writing and my description.
Yes.
And so the Supreme Court wound up copying and explaining how a semi-automatic fire control works, pictures of a machine gun lower.
Yes.
It was all very retarded. But basically, anyway, for those of you who aren't crazy into gun stuff, just know, never give Firearms Policy Coalition any money. And it is my sincere hope and wish that everyone there gets a very slow stomach cancer and dies screaming. And it is well deserved.
Well, it's one way to put it. It's one way to put it. And also, real quick, just so you know, if you weren't aware, your state, the state of Florida, is number 22 in ranking for alcohol excise taxes.
Really?
$6.50 a gallon. Number one, get a load of this. The state of Washington, $36.
What's Alabama?
Alabama is
Should be up there.
$21.69. They're the fourth highest.
And who's the lowest?
The lowest is, well, there's a tie because pretty base places. New Hampshire at nothing, and Wyoming at nothing.
That's good.
Yes, there's some good places. There's some good places. But it's crazy. California, take a load of this. California is $3.30 per gallon.
It's because they just haven't found it yet.
Well, yeah, they're like, wait, we can tax this? Even Massachusetts is only like $4 a gallon. It's 36 highest. And New York is like pretty reasonable. And like New Jersey is like not too, it's better. And actually, we were reading through this. In New Jersey, you can actually own a still. You just have to register it, which,
yeah,
I mean, but like still, that's
it's like many
impressive.
things in federal law.
It's amazing what some of these states, like, you can't own an AR-15, but we'll let
Right.
you make fucking alcohol.
Right.
So
Well, it's because like they can comprehend the utility in alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like
Yes.
it's a lot harder to explain the objective utility of alcohol than
Well, especially
Okay.
nowadays. Yes,
Yeah.
in 1840, I could make an argument for it. So
it cures all. Here, look, try
yes,
my
I can't drink the water because I don't want cholera.
yeah. My favorite
Now-
is that the French, like in World War I,
Mhm.
part of the like combat load was
Yes.
like they had red wine in their water,
Yes.
and and the French were known for like in World War I for being exceptional marksmen. It's because they were all drinking group tightener. Did you know that alcohol is a performance enhancing drug in the shooting sports?
No, I did not
Yeah.
know that.
Because it's a central nervous system depressant, so it kills your jitters.
You heard it here, chat.
It's a group
Get
tightener.
get toe up before you go to the range.
1 3/4 drinks is like prime group tightener.
Gets you steady. Get steady, chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
and
no,
they start
they said, is that why
ass.
Nick quits shaking? No, you can, if you continue drinking, the shaking comes back with a vengeance.
Yes.
Oh, it sucks. But okay, yeah, no, sorry for derailing the stream.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
And Alec Baldwin is a free man now.
Yeah, for like the most fascinating reasons ever.
Yes.
Like that reminds me when I was taking my crim law classes, I was
Mhm.
talking back in law school,
Mhm.
before the war. I was talking to my professor and I was like, there's so many technicalities that seem to run in the favor of the government. Like, how can you ever win a case? And she just puts her hand on my shoulder and she goes, Matthew, never underestimate the state's ability to fuck a case up. And like,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
seemed to be true.
Yeah, it's true. And the coolest part about it was because the two ladies were special prosecutors appointed. Once the other lady found out that this bullshit had happened, she immediately quit and
Yeah.
left. So like right before they have their Brady hearing, the other prosecutor's like, fuck this shit, and walked out of the courtroom and quit.
So is that what so did this come to light during the trial? And so
yes, in the middle of trial.
and so he's just
Came
like,
to
we
light.
need to have a Brady hearing.
Yeah, and she took the prosecutor took the stand herself.
Jesus.
And I tell people, the fucking witness stand is a fucking minefield. Do not willingly go into it.
Yeah.
And she just fucking marched right up there and just started fucking playing soccer in the middle of a minefield.
Yeah.
And she just kept fucking raking herself. And yeah, the judge just boom, done.
The judge, like, how long did it go on for? Because I haven't like read the whole.
It was like 3 hours of like
Jeez.
shit went down. Like the detective went up there, the CSI tech got caught fucking around. Like a lot of people should lose their fucking jobs.
So, but this has to come from up top, right? For the CSI techs and all the detectives to be fucking on this guy, like,
well, because they did it at the prosecute. Well, the prosecutor said, okay, like mark it down, and then the CSI tech's like, okay, well, I marked it down, but because I wasn't sure how important it was, I put it under a different case number. Like that's what they did, and you're like, what?
yeah,
She's like, yeah, that's why I did it.
but like, who was giving the? I don't know, man.
There's I don't know. It's really the whole thing was fucked. The whole thing was.
It's
fucked.
so utterly weird, and like,
yeah,
when you're prosecuting Alec fucking Baldwin,
yeah,
you'd think you'd dot your I's and cross your T's.
And at the end of the day, I think it actually probably wouldn't have mattered too much because he shot a fucking lady in the fucking face. At the end of the day, he still fucking shot somebody. I think a jury would have been like, yeah, he's a bad guy for doing that.
I don't know. I thought he was going to get exonerated at the end of the day, but yeah, I just don't think that you can get a whole jury. Like, I think you wind up with a hung jury in that case, like every time.
Maybe.
Because I think you're always going to have at least one person that's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
You know, I hate the rich.
Yes. But I don't know. I mean, like, but it's New Mexico, so there's going to be enough people. Like, you shouldn't go running around pointing fucking guns at people. You know, and they're going to say special movie star rules or not, you don't fucking do it.
I don't. Yeah, I've always been on the side of, and you know, from when this all started, I'm like, actors aren't people. You can't like put human expectations on them. They're chimps.
Well, yes, they're just slightly above journalists. Yes. Yeah. So, all right. Well, yes. So this judge has been attacking all of this, but it's very funny. He's like, look, I'm not touching the countless statutory provisions regarding the distilled spirits tax scheme. It's like, listen, guys, I'm not saying you guys don't get to pay taxes, which I think despite how based it is, that's the shittiness of the government. Even Clarence Thomas is never going to be like, yeah, you shouldn't have to pay taxes on alcohol. Fuck them.
Right.
You know, they're never going to do that. Clarence Thomas is never going to say, hey, Matt, you could just have like a bunch of Mark 19 sitting around. Don't worry about paying tax on those.
Yeah. Yeah. They're always going to be like, but my paycheck.
Yes. Well, they say it routinely throughout here. It's to protect revenue. They routinely say yes. Yes, they talk about you know, the provisions touching the product to be taxed. And yes, here you go. This provision makes no reference to any mechanism or process that operates to protect revenue. It's protecting revenue.
Right.
Yes, the government, you know, they will kill you for this revenue.
Yeah.
And guys, some of you were asking, yes, Congress can require you to be bonded and registered. Yeah. And by bonded, like you have an insurance, like you were bonded, like a plumber is bonded and insured. Yeah. They will make you jump through a lot of hoops, but if you comply with them, they will let you
not be in jail.
Yeah, and yes. You have to get your bottling approved, your labeling approved by the feds, all of it.
Yep.
And if you guys notice now, you could sell clear whiskey. For a long time, that was never allowed because they were like, well, we don't know if you're selling illegal shit. So it all had to be tinted.
Which is so, like, all of the bullshit.
Yes.
Around the alcohol laws. I mean, it's just like anything else that ATF touches, right? It's a completely fucked up, like,
yes,
just twisted, deformed version of like what it always was, which was staple on charges. Like the idea that this should ever be imposed independently, like the people drafting these laws would have been like, what?
Well, they're normally tinted brown. That's why like whiskey is tinted, you know, the color it is. There's obviously using barrels, but it had to be tinted that way. But yes, as Job Well Done says, fucking revenuers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why Rocky Top's one of the cooler state songs. Talks about revenuers disappearing up on the hillside. So, anyways, Matt, your favorite power, the commerce power.
Yeah. Means you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, pretty much. But they point out that these two provisions about having the still in your house and how you can go up to prison for 5 years for it don't survive because they don't serve a comprehensive interstate market regulation, which
Well, what
I
about
think
Rick?
the Fifth Circuit's going to probably say, lol, no.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. Very based. A very reasonable take.
Yeah. What judge is this again?
This is Mark Pittman out of the Northern District of Texas in Fort Worth. This is the one all these faggot professors on Twitter were like, I can't believe this judge is doing a nationwide injunction. And I'm like, you guys remember fucking Hawaii judge?
Right. Well, and
The whole
also
time-
now, like, is it the Northern District of Texas that is like the new most reversed?
Yes. This is the same Northern District that allowed like 18-year-olds like, oh yeah, you don't need a 4473 to buy a handgun here. Like, I think this is that guy too. Like he's gone all out on shit, which I'm like,
I mean, hell yeah, right? Like
Yes.
that's actually your job, but it's also
yes.
like there's a smarter way to do it, maybe. I don't know.
I agree, and that's the thing, guys. Yes, bad cases make bad law, but bad judges can also fuck things up really bad too.
Yeah. And like clearly not say like I think this guy's right 100%.
Yes.
But like the right thing to do when you know you're going to be rocking the boat is to like do right, be limited in your relief.
Yes.
Because then when you're like nationwide injunction, boom, 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 right? Like then all of a sudden everyone's on alert and they're like, stop him
Yes.
now.
Well, that's the government's like, no, we're missing the revenue money from this booze. Because distilling spirits at home for personal consumption is a commercial activity that substantially affects interstate commerce in the aggregate. The court concludes those are not authorized by Congress's power to regulate local economic activity. I mean, which is funny because under Wickard v. Filburn, the fact you're not selling this alcohol is affecting the fact that people can sell alcohol.
It's
which I think they're going to fucking crush him because of that.
Yeah. Their whole thing was if you're not buying one bale, that means that you're like affecting the market.
Yes.
Which, you know, is like manic. And the Supreme Court has indicated that they might be ready to like take a baby step back from that. But
taking a baby step back would help. But yes, there's a lot of steps back.
I do not have the tweet poster board handy.
Oh.
Yeah, because the funny thing is that the problem is conservative jurists are like such pussies, and making a proper ruling on the commerce power would like tomorrow mean the Department of Education had to shut down.
Yes,
and they can't do that, right? Like
no, as much as like
because of the pearls.
Well, and I think at the end of the day, a lot of conservative judges, like I said, if you walked in there, and even if you had 9 Clarence Thomases sitting on the Supreme Court, and you're like, hey, man, can I have like fucking Uzis for free? And they're going to go, no. Like, I don't think you would get it. I don't
don't know. I think if they were literally 9 Thomases, I think you'd get a 5-4.
It's just be 4 of them being assholes for the sake of like, I dissent. Why? Because fuck it.
Because they used the wrong word.
Yeah.
It's like some fun misunderstanding.
Yeah, well, that would be the scary part too.
Yeah.
But yes, if you had like 9 Kavanaughs, this ain't fucking happening, or 9 Gorsuches, it ain't happening. Well, actually,
they're coastal elitists. They like.
Well, if you're with Gorsuch, you just have to go. But I am a Native American, and Gorsuch will go, I love you.
Come, little baby, you want machine gun?
Yes, it's part of my rain dance, and he'll be like, I love you, and he's like, I love you, savages. But yes, they talk about the Article 1, Section 8 allows it to regulate commerce, and it's a broad authority under the clause. And Congress can reach local activities that have a substantial effect on interstate commerce, and even further to non-commercial activities that affect commerce only when aggregated with similar activities of others. And I don't see how he survives this
Well,
challenge.
yeah, no, let's see how he
Yeah.
how did wait,
Because-
but contrasted with the taxing power, the commerce power gives Congress more leeway to directly control individual behavior. Okay, so where's the distinction?
Yeah. And also, if 1,000 people start running stills at home, let's say 1 million people start doing it, I don't see how he survives this argument that's not going to affect commerce under Filburn. But let's see.
Why didn't you just say that those cases were wrong?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's the pussiness of conservative judges.
yeah.
They aren't willing to say it's wrong. They're just like, well I'll distinct. We're going to walk around it.
You know,
don't look here.
look at all of my like intense sophistry. Look at all of these words I'm putting on this paper.
Oh, real quick, there is a thing here, and I thought this was a massive tautology. At least I didn't fucking understand it, and I don't know if you do. You will or not.
I'm
Okay.
retarded.
Well, you're not as retarded as me, so. Okay, so it's this starred part here, okay? So the government responds that the provisions at issue are valid uses of the taxing power because they ensure the protection of and reduce fraud upon the tax revenue generated on distilled spirits.
That's the plaintiff's contention.
That's the government's contention.
Oh no, that's the government's response to the contention.
Yeah.
That's not a sane invocation of the taxing power.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's to me, it sounds like a tautology. It's like,
Yeah.
well, it's protecting the taxing because it's protecting taxes. It's like,
No, right.
but how?
Yeah, no, we need to tax the distillation, because if we don't, we wouldn't be able to collect revenues from the distillation
Yeah.
of alcohol.
Yeah. If you don't tax us, people are going to defraud it. How if they're not paying you?
Well, no, but like the bigger one is the taxes ensure the protection of the tax revenue.
Yeah.
Like it reduced fraud upon is like almost a it's a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just reduce that comma offset, right? They ensure protection of the tax revenue generated on distilled spirits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess they're like, if they're being hyper technical,
Yeah.
right? They might be saying that this isn't a contest of the tax itself. It's a contest of like a core component of the tax.
Okay.
And so it is bullshit.
I mean, it is. I was just like,
Yeah.
this seemed like a fucking tautology. Like, yes, we have to protect the tax. I was like, what the fuck?
Tautology.
Yeah, I'm like, that's that. I'm like, that really fucking hurt my head for a minute. So they talk about the What's that?
I said it is fucked up.
It is, yeah. Well, the commerce power has been established to allow to regulate three things: the channels of interstate commerce, the instrumentalities of interstate commerce, and activities with a substantial effect on interstate commerce. Basically, fucking everything, Chad. If you were thinking, well, what does that mean? Everything.
I love how that was like at first it was just instrumentalities.
Yes.
And then they had to squish that even further. And then
Yes.
like, no, things and people.
Yes. They had to add this on. Yes.
Yeah.
Which means everybody. But what happens if I
Things and
source
people,
all
that
my
was
materials?
like part of Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I source all my materials from my own state? It doesn't matter.
Fuck you.
Yes. But it's
I
funny
like it when
because
Sean does the Biden whisper.
listen here. Here's the truth.
Yeah, all right.
See, I was doing it before Biden was doing it. The channels of interstate commerce are interstate transportation routes through which persons and goods move. Yep. And extends beyond the regulation of highways, railroads, air routes, navigable rivers, fiber optic cables, and the like.
Yeah.
Yeah, which means everything. And the instrumentalities are the planes, trains, and automobiles of commerce, along with the people associated with them, which means everybody.
Yeah. Everyone and everything.
Yes. The instrumentalities of commerce are generally held to be the people and things themselves moving in commerce, which, yes, everything.
So yeah,
And the
so
people, the
he's
people
driving down
become
into
possible.
substantial effects.
Yes.
Yeah.
So guess,
So
chat.
that's where, like, where's he gonna try to distinguish?
And that's here, I think that's where he's going to try it. So he's saying at issue here is the substantial effects doctrine, which allows Congress to reach purely local and non-economic activity that substantially affects commerce in the aggregate. Okay. Because this doctrine gives Congress the longest reach, it requires the most prerequisites to pass muster. It's generally settled the regulation of local non-commercial behavior falls within commerce power when it substantially affects interstate commerce in the aggregate, citing Wickard. And two, it serves a comprehensive statute that regulates commercial activity on its face. And three, is necessary to make broad commercial regulation effective.
Oh yeah, that fucking prong. That's the worst shit.
Yes. So even so, Congress reach under this doctrine is not limitless.
He's using their
Basically,
language against them.
It's basically fucking limitless, though.
Yeah.
The Commerce Clause is not a general license to regulate an individual from cradle to grave. Except they pretty much do.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because he will predictably engage in particular transactions. So regulating purely local activity does not serve a broader overarching statutory scheme. Congress cannot reach it. And that's the U.S. v. Lopez, the gun case.
Mm-hmm.
The gun-free school zones.
Which they amended by saying gun that has affected interstate commerce.
Yes, and all guns.
And then the court was like, don't call me.
Yeah. Court's like, well, sorry. They said the magic words. And now he says, for brevity's sake, the court assumes without deciding that the at-home distillation of beverage alcohol affects interstate commerce in the aggregate. Okay. So accordingly, and congruent with the thrust of the parties' arguments, the court will focus on whether the prohibition serves a comprehensive market regulation is needed to make that regulation effective. So they're conceding the ground that Wickard, they're affecting interstate commerce in the aggregate.
Right. Well, because he knows that that's like...
Yeah. Well, so he's going to get fucked at the Fifth Circuit. He's already admitting that.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like that's the stronger argument.
Well, I guess I thought this was going to be a pretty dope opinion, but I'm like, well,
let's see what he says.
Okay. I'm just like,
I feel like there might, I don't know, there might be some trickery.
Okay, let's see. The prohibition does not serve a comprehensive statute that regulates commerce on its face. Okay. That the authority to regulate home distilling is identical to prohibiting at-home cultivation of marijuana, because marijuana is grown and possessed for personal use is never more than an instant from the interstate market. Fucking Scalia.
Whoa.
Gonna sell that dope.
No, hold on. He actually is. He's getting onto something.
Yeah. No, I know, but Scalia said that. It's like you can't have the dope out there.
No, I'm saying the next sentence. Yeah.
This is simply wrong because it skips the requirement that Congress must first have an established regulatory regime in place. Okay, I think I kind of get the idea where it's going here.
Yeah, no, because most of the shit that we actually deal with is state.
Yeah. Right concerned the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act of 1970, which completely banned all production and distribution of controlled substances unless exempted by its own text. The act was the product of a long history of regulating and labeling the adulteration of drugs distributed in interstate commerce, and it was the culmination of a nationwide effort to execute Nixon's war on drugs. Such a successful war.
Yeah, wars have been winning. Drugs have been winning for 50 years now, I think.
Yes. We might need to take a knee soon. The act further consolidated existing drug laws into one authoritative statutory regime, and it provided mechanisms for the government to control legitimate channels of distributing narcotics, prevent their diversion into illicit channels, strengthen law enforcement capability, cut down illegal drug trafficking. So when California attempted to allow local cultivation of medicinal marijuana, The Supreme Court held the California acting alone could not statutorily excise concededly valid applications of a comprehensive statutory scheme. Likewise, in Wickard, the Supreme Court ruled against Farmer Filburn's attempt to cultivate wheat for his own consumption for a similar reason. And yes, guys, you've heard me talk about it before. Yes, he was growing fucking wheat on his fucking farm for himself and his horses.
A couple bushels of the pot weed.
Yes, Ohio man, actually, as well.
Ohio.
Yes, Ohio man causing fucking problems everywhere. You know, getting your house blown up and the exclusionary rule, getting felled up by the cops. Ohio man causes all kinds of problems.
God, I love it getting felt up by the cops.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You get it in your FUD voice. When the cops pat you down, they touching you. It means that you love America.
Listen, if you ain't got nothing to hide, what are you screaming about a lawyer for? You see me gonna go crying for one of them? I don't need that.
I probably let him touch my butthole.
I got wooden steel on my hip and a hero's officer's cock in my mouth.
Oh. All right. So the comprehensive statutory regime at issue there was the Agricultural Adjustment Act of 1938. You're like, wow, that's part of the New Deal. Yes, it's part of communism. In the wake of the Great Depression, the AAA was implemented to control the volume of moving interstate and foreign commerce in order to avoid surpluses and shortages and the consequently abnormally lower high wheat prices. Yes, you'd call that a command economy.
There might be a central planner involved.
Yes. It sounds like this was a plan that was meant to work for like 5 years at a time.
I wonder how many leaps there would be.
Yes, or you could call it almost a new economic plan. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. Yes.
The NIP.
Yes, Tavares. Now, in short, it was complete control of the agricultural commodities by Congress. It allowed the Secretary of Agriculture to ascertain and prescribe yearly allotments that an individual farmer would be allowed to produce, and even allowed direct loans and payments to farmers in certain circumstances. Accordingly, the court put Filburn's challenge out to pasture because Congress may properly have considered what wheat consumed on the farm where grown, if wholly outside the scheme of regulation, would have a substantial effect in defeating and obstructing its purpose to stimulate trade therein at increased prices. Yeah, so here the interstate spirits market is policed by the Federal Alcohol Administration Act.
The FA.
While the act is a statutory scheme that governs commerce on its face, the court concludes that it is not the comprehensive kind that justifies congressional regulation of local behavior. Okay.
But to be sure, the act is comprehensive in the sense that it addresses just about every facet.
Well, yeah. Just about. And the interstate alcohol market.
The interstate.
Yeah.
It requires alcohol. Businesses. I see what you're saying. It doesn't touch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bulk sales and bottling. Defines and prohibits unfair competition in interstate commerce. And subchapter 2 prescribes various labeling requirements for alcohol products, mindful that the American public should be informed about the health hazards that may result from the abuse of alcoholic beverages.
Yeah. No, this doesn't touch.
This is like
at all.
He found like the one little spot.
Yeah, no, that's actually pretty slick. No, he did. Yeah. He found this little slot in the armor, and he just went.
This is pretty fucking.
That's actually good lawyering.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, what's the fifth? Like the Fifth Circuit's gonna have to be like, well, like
I don't know. They might. Yeah, they might let him do it.
Which means this
is like what this is like it's so here's the question, right? Is the door of your car closed if you can put in one of those air pumper things?
Yes.
Get it open. Was it closed? You know, that's
Yeah, no, it is. This is, yeah, it's like, well, he's right. Like, I didn't know where he was going to go with this, but yes, couldn't they have called it the Federal Alcohol Governance Act? No, this fucking works. Holy shit.
Yeah, that is a principled market distinction. Like,
yes,
the CSA affects individual, individual possession even, and the Farming Act was basically if you were doing it, you were subject.
Yes. I'll say, by the way, guys, since he did this, here's our Chad, just Judge Pittman. Although when you see this, it's like, okay, he went to the University of Texas at Austin, so he wasn't a moron. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, my University of Toledo brain could not wrap
the law
around
school that somebody goes to, better.
I know, but it's like my university, my 75th tier law school brain could not figure that out, where he was going with this.
Well, I mean, I get
it.
I was a tier 1 and I couldn't figure it out at first.
Wait, where'd you go to school at?
Well, it was tier 1 when I went, Alabama. I don't know if they're still considered tier 1.
Oh God, that's like top 25, isn't it?
It was 20 when I went, but it was just a total fucking scam. It's all an asshole.
Yes, you
scam.
learned the same things I learned. Yes.
Yeah, nothing.
Yes. Well, that too.
Nothing.
But yes, when you go to Harvard, guys, they're not like, listen, here's the real shit you need to know.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
No, the advantage of going to Harvard is like knowing more people whose dads own more judges.
Yes.
Like,
yes. Yes. Matt is
who
a
said,
tier 1 operator.
Who said research institution? I was talking about law schools. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
That's AG biochemist. He doesn't understand that this is not a real educational question.
Yes. You know what? He's upset because we're doctors like him, but we went to school for less time.
I forced our graduating class to have the doctoral TAM.
You did?
Yeah, usually at Alabama, like Alabama's one of those schools that's like, lawyers are like ashamed to call it a doctorate, so they give mortar boards. I'm like, no, I already wore that shit. I want the fluffy hat.
Yeah,
and I got my fluffy hat.
Oh no, my brother's an actual doctor, and I was at my parents' house. He came down to visit, and they had FedExed some like medical results he had to take and look and evaluate. And when the FedEx guy showed up, he's like, "Is there Dr. Martin here?" And I'm like, "Yes." And my brother's like, "Shut the fuck up." And the guy like looked at both of us for a second, and he thought like, "Oh, I guess we're at the wrong spot." And my brother's like, "No, it's me." But I was like,
funny.
It's. I was like, I was really upset. And my dad's like, "You're not a real doctor. Don't be an asshole." And I'm like, "But I am." It says it on my fucking degree. Like, how much more real do I need it to be?
I like to. It really pisses my sister off that I have a terminal degree. I have a postdoctorate. Yes. I got my tax LLM, and I got to go to Cayman Islands to go look at taxes or something. But
oh really? You got an LLM?
Yeah, in tax. Oh. It's on my little wall over there.
Nice.
I also got my ethics opinion editor plaque.
Ethics opinion?
Yeah, I was the ethics opinion editor of the stupid law journal, and they had so low attention to detail that they put my name as ethics opinion editor. Well, and I kept posting pictures of it, and the school kept trying to get it back, and I'm like, "Fuck you, this is mine." I edited the opinions of the ethnics.
Well, you are a very ethnic man yourself, so it all works.
That's right. I'm a thought leader.
Yes. All right, let's get back to how he fucking does this, because he just threaded the needle. Let's see here. So the act is not a comprehensive regulation of commerce, the kind that allows congressional intervention in every related local activity.
Yeah, in every it's italicized.
Yeah, because the act does not regulate the supply and demand of alcohol, does not make Congress a production manager over each distillery.
To inflate prices.
Yes. It's not part of a federal directive to either promote or eliminate a nationwide marketplace for alcohol. It's funny though, because states do that shit basically.
Yeah, they Alabama has that shit.
Yeah, Ohio.
Then I love the, like, to me, the most passive aggressive shit you can do in legal writing is the compare flag.
Yes.
It's so shitty.
Yes.
I do that all the time.
Oh, or Contra.
or just CF.
Well, see, and the funny thing is when I do those, I use this every once in a while. I'm like, I just can't go C also.
Yeah. No, I do compare case with lower court opinion.
Yeah. So, in short, the act is not a comprehensive scheme of regulation because there are many aspects of the alcohol industry Congress has left untouched, which I find hard to fucking believe. For example, the act does not mandate the quantity of spirits a distillery may produce. It is silent on the label's design and aesthetics, absent required warning label. And that's true. That's all regulatory. That's all CFR. Okay. And despite it providing parameters for fair competition, it does not influence how much market share a producer may obtain. I mean, well, I guess yes, but then you have, obviously the antitrust is separate.
Yeah.
There's simply no similar degree of control over production, distribution, consumption of alcohol as there was for wheat and Wickard. So it's depending on the state of your wheat, it might be controlled completely.
Yeah.
So that's all Wickard had to do was run a fucking still, and he had to be great.
Yeah, just be like, oh, I'm putting it in there. I'm gonna put it in there. I promise.
I promise. I'm just gonna get drunk. My horses are gonna drink it. Oh, even if the act were comprehensive, the prohibition is not necessary to effectuate it. So the reasoning in Lopez and Morrison is illustrative on this point. In Lopez, Congress attempted to make it a federal offense for any individual knowingly possess a firearm and an individual knows a reason to believe a school zone. And justifying the action, the government argued the possession of a firearm may result in violent crime, and violent crime often affects the national economy. The Supreme Court rejected that contention, namely because the text of the statute contained no jurisdictional element which would ensure the firearm possession affects interstate commerce. And like you said, all they did is turn around and stuck the words interstate commerce in it, and Supreme Court's like, touche. And then in Morrison, Congress, and we're going to skip the language in 922Q.
Yeah.
Congress attempted to create a private right of action for victims of a crime of violence motivated by gender. The government sought to sustain the law because gender-motivated violence substantially affected interstate commerce.
Which is the most clown shoes fucking.
Enough casserole dishes get smashed against the wall, the ceramics industry will be affected. Enough sunglasses get sold because of domestic violence.
Right. Packs of peas.
Yes. And Nerf doorknobs. Indeed, the court similarly held that a blanket right of action for criminal behavior devoid of any textual but-for causation would completely obliterate the Constitution's distinction between national and local authority. So the regulation and punishment of interstate crime that is not directed at goods channels involving interstate commerce has always been the province of the states. The statutory provisions are similar. Taken together, having a still in a home and then the penalty for it form a crime of possession, solicitation, and aiding and abetting. And they're saying because it prohibits distilled spirits plants in any house, dwelling, shed, yard, or enclosure connected with any dwelling house or on board any vessel or boat. I don't know why you'd put a fucking still on a boat, but I guess. Or on premises where beer and wine is made or produced, or liquors of any prescription are retailed, or on premises where any other business is carried on. And then it makes it a federal offense for anyone who uses or possesses with the intent to use any still, boiler, or other utensil, or aids therein or causes the same to be done. Okay, so beginning and ending with the text, neither of these provisions connect the prohibited behavior to interstate commerce.
Are you using a tablet?
No, I'm freehanding that.
Oh, very straight.
I took your advice, got the shakes out. At the end.
He drank his group tightener.
Yeah. Got a little bump before I came on.
That's group listener.
Oh, and they say, and no reasonable construction of the statutes can insert language that does. Although so all Congress has to do is then insert interstate commerce in here somewhere.
They'd have to like. You could still make an argument though.
Yeah.
That there's no particular thing or market that's like pervasively regulated the way those cases were.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I was just worried they could do that. But I'm hoping.
I mean,
so.
they would.
I'm hoping so.
What they would have to do is.
Okay, and well, here's actually he answers it, and I didn't read it.
Oh,
He says, "In no reasonable construction of the statutes can insert language that does."
yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. He's saying it's wrong to think that. Lopez prohibited the knowing possession of a firearm at or near a school. 5601 and 5178 prohibit the possession of a still with the intent to produce beverage or alcohol. He says the statute does not, for instance, prohibit the possession of a still with the intent to imbibe where the still's components traveled in interstate commerce. Which, I mean, he's kind of basically saying how the fuck it fix it.
Right.
But, I mean, it's a good thing Congress can't do shit right now. Nor does it inhibit the possession of a still with the intent to produce beverage alcohol for distribution in interstate commerce. Well, and if I'm making it on my own, it's still not intended to go interstate commerce.
Well, and so that's the thing is,
yeah,
if it was written like that, you'd have that potential defense. But the way the courts have looked at that in the past was not favorably.
Oh, yeah. If you guys, the way it worked is if you were making moonshine, well, the other problem is you get caught with like 80 gallons of moonshine. So it's like, oh, it's all personal consumption. When were you going to drink this all, sir? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I drink a lot. I have a big appetite.
My eyes was bigger than my tummy.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention when I poured the corn in. 10 pounds, 100 pounds. Sometimes you're just not paying attention.
Yes, you just put the crones in.
While the statute may anticipate one who distills liquor at home may attempt to distribute in violation of some other federal law, the text remains the text. The provisions are simply criminal statutes that, by their terms, have no Commerce Clause jurisdictional hook to bring the behavior Congress seeks to regulate within its authority. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
So it survives. The Commerce Clause does not authorize it. All right. So they requested a permanent injunction. So yes, this guy granted a nationwide injunction here. So they talked about this.
Did he, in the scope of relief, was it permanent as well?
We'll get to that. Yeah. So to get injunctive relief, you have to suffer an irreparable injury. The remedies at law are inadequate to compensate for the injury.
That basically means money won't help.
Yes. And they, considering the balance, a remedy and equity is warranted, and the public interest would not be disserviced by a permanent injunction. So they have suffered irreparable harm because of the loss of their freedoms.
My freedom.
Yes. The government did make an argument. There's no right to distill alcohol. I'm like, there's not a right to do a lot of things, technically, for being that actionably.
Nor is there a right to wear a blue shirt.
Yes.
You were saying?
Yes. Rather, their injuries being subjected to the enforcement of federal law that Congress had no power to enact. There is no monetary standard which could compute those damages. So, indeed, not even a declaratory judgment that these provisions are unconstitutional will afford adequate relief to the plaintiffs, absent the court's injunction against their enforcement. He's like, that's the point of the whole lawsuit. Second, for the same reasons, they've demonstrated there's no legal adequate remedy for their injury. Because there's no other way around this, because they'll get sent to prison and they'll get arrested and their dogs will get killed.
No.
So this is the only way, by Mr. Judge saying no, ne pas, to the government. So the plaintiffs have demonstrated there is no legal remedy that would redress their injury. Third and fourth, the balance of hardships in the public interest. These factors merge when the government is the opposing party. So they point out that the plaintiffs have met their burden and there's no constitutional backing. In other words, they've shown Congress and the TTB have not been playing by the rules of government. Naughty, naughty. There are no rules in government. They get to do what they want.
Right. That is the rule.
Yeah.
It's like playing a game with a 4-year-old. The game is I win.
Yeah. Well, because it's what's the rule? They have more guns than you do, and they're willing to kill you.
They have more guns and less reservations.
Yes. And they have better financial incentives.
Yeah.
Courts fail their responsibility to enforce the Constitution. Its words become little more than good advice. And there's generally no public interest in the perpetuation of unlawful agency action. Yes, that you're saying the right words, man, but it's like, how often is that going to be true? Anyway, so according to the plaintiff's injunction, motion for a permanent injunction is granted. So the conclusion, let's see here, where are we going to get to? The
He starts with the judiciary has long been hesitant. So
yeah. Judiciary has long been hesitant to abrogate the actions of Congress, absent the clearest abuse of power. No lies detected. And the funny thing is, this is from 1883. Yes, the courts have been cucked by the government for a long time, and they acknowledge it.
Yep.
Sadly. And they go back to, even citing Marbury.
That
is where the judiciary must declare when its co-equal branches overstep their constitutional authority. Yes. So having on the merits, the grants plaintiff's request for relief and declares these are unconstitutional. And they are permanently enjoined from enforcing it against any individual plaintiff, Scott McNutt, the associational plaintiff, the Hobby Distillers Association, or its members. So I'm going to go join the Hobby Distillers
And then he drops 3 guys for lack of standing. That's so cucked.
Well, and it's funny because these guys, so the way it was working was the Alcohol Tax and Trade Bureau, if you bought the equipment for a still, they were sending out letters like, hey, buddy, we heard you bought a still. Well, he's the only, just so you know, if you're doing something naughty with that, we can send you to prison and fine you a bunch of money.
Right.
So be a heckin' good boy. He was the only one that ended up with that letter. The rest of them didn't, and that was the reason why they didn't get standing. Otherwise, they were all people who do like distilling ethanol or are like fucking electrical engineers and doing all kinds of crazy shit. So the court hereby stays the applicability of this opinion on order for 14 days from the date of this order to allow the federal government to seek emergency relief at the federal appellate level, which is bullshit. It should automatically go into effect.
Well, I guess that's him not being too extreme.
Yeah, but fuck you guys, suffer. You guys will go.
That's what they do to us.
Yeah, you're the fucking DOJ. Waddle on down to the Fifth Circuit. Like, I'm sure you can get heard right away. And then that's it.
Help.
There we go.
Help.
Yes. Oh, well, that was too much.
What?
So yes, it's a nationwide injunction.
What was too much? What did you do? What did you
I scrolled out too far because I hit Control Mouse and I'm like, ooh, that's too much. So yes, it's a nationwide injunction, and people are like, "This is so mean." I'm like, we had Hawaii judge and Seattle judge for 4 years in a row, basically overturning everything. But this is fine because it's a nationwide association. I'm going to join it. It's like, I'm going to make some alcohol.
So funny.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Oh. So, yes, guys, you have to join the organization.
Wait, hold on. There was declaratory relief.
Yes. Yes, the government's enjoined from enforcing the action. So they cannot enforce this against anybody in the organization.
Right. Yeah.
So
no, but because
yeah. So you got to go join the Hobby Distillers. They're gonna get a big bump in people.
It's funny.
Yes, Cape Attic. No guy who ordered a still out in Iraq was moonshining in their tent. Yeah, that can happen. That can happen.
Board engineer is a dangerous thing.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I got all my ham. Yeah. Here you go. Does this make do you like ham people, ham operators?
Oh no, I hate them.
Okay. Well, apparently Hiram Maxim was a major proponent of the ham radio organizations. He created the American Radio Relay League. It's like you're like, I'm torn now. Hiram Maxim was a sad ham.
Well, that was also probably before ham radio operators were like just like people who really want to tell on other people.
Yeah.
It's like the
boomers are the worst at it.
Yeah, no, because they're like, how dare you? What's your license number? You don't got a license? I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna call the feds on you, and the FCC won't let you be.
Yes.
You know what my dream is?
What?
Get a jetpack.
Yeah.
A working jetpack. And and just go up in the air with the ham radio and just start blasting.
Well, no, you take the ham radio and have it set on a drone. You just start flying your drone around
and just start blasting slurs. Stop me!
Oh my God, there's this funny. I've seen this recording somewhere on YouTube where some German guy is like, he's talking. He's like, I am from Germany. Hello. And some guy's like, Heil Hitler. Hello, Hitler. It's like, he's like, fuck you, Hitler. We don't like Hitler. And he just keeps going on and on and on. And I'm like, oh.
The slur station.
Yeah.
It's...
Oh, the slur generator. Sir Marhouse says, here's money that isn't money. Always loyal. Well, thank you.
Loyal.
18 months. Holy shit. That's a long time.
Nice.
I appreciate it. And Sir Marhouse says, fuck cops.
Fuck cops.
Yes. And then Fair Frozen says, thank you, Matt, for helping me rehome a cat girl. Sorry Pepino causes so many headaches and is not in the head. I'm now working on my PP. The cinnamon zots were nice. I'm a fan. Looking forward to more.
Thank you.
Even that goes over my head.
Yeah. Just a lot to unpack there. But it's all true.
Yes. Oh, Nick Naylor's saying in the Alec Baldwin case, the prosecutor flat out told the cop to file it differently. Oh, well.
That's...
Then fuck her, too.
Book him, Dano.
Yeah, and the funny thing is she's like a pretty good defense attorney, too. She was like a special prosecutor.
So she's just like, no, do it this way. Because I'd win if you didn't do it this way.
Yes. Sir Marhouse is saying Matt didn't know Ivan was the Ivan until recently. Saw Dankula's video on Jay Stark recently. It was really good if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Yes. Badweather Biker says this is all boring. What I want to know is if Matt has seen the movie American Beauty.
I have not.
Oh, that's a Nick joke.
Huh?
That's a Nick has a very fond fascination with the movie American Beauty. So, Fruit by the Foot.
Yeah, my wife got
man
some.
Of culture.
There was one that had two of them in it. She ripped open the package and two of them came out, so I got to have one.
Wow. Nice. The Badweather Biker says you're not a real lawyer unless you went to the University of Wisconsin Law School like Robert Barnes did. Yeah, he is the realest of the realist. Remember, it's
the real lawyer. The real law school is Thompson and Cooley. It's like they have the lowest bar passage rate of any.
Yes, Cooley is like it's Western Michigan's law school. Yeah, Cooley is like the bottom.
And the thing is that when we were sitting for the Florida bar,
because
everyone talks about the pass rates. And there's this thing where you just before you go in, you just stop and pray to God and thank him for Cooley.
Oh no, I was sitting there and at lunch I was talking to somebody. He's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And he's like, "Oh yeah," and I'm like, he's like, "Oh, I went to Cooley," and I'm like, "Okay, I probably beat you."
I hate that people care about law schools because it's such a fucking scam. It's
yes.
such a bullshit.
Sir Morrow says, "Isn't Cooley that Negro school?" No, Cooley. Yes, Cooley is a slur.
It's not quite a slur.
Talk about that kind of Cooley.
It's not. I don't even think that's offensive. I mean, it was like a colonial term.
Yes, it's like Oriental.
Yeah, it was like half island, half Indian or whatever.
Oh, Old Line Red is saying Cooley's in Lansing, not in Western Michigan. Oh, I thought it was.
Who fucking
God,
cares?
that's even
It's all fake.
Imagine going to fucking having to live in Lansing, Michigan. That would be fucking awful.
Yeah, that wouldn't.
You get killed to be part of the fucking criminal law class.
Chinese in the
if you're Chinese in the 1800s, it was a slur. Das Boo says you learn a new slur every potentially criminal stream. Thanks, chat and Sean. You're welcome. If you learn what you can here, guys.
Yeah.
Learn not how to break the law, or learn how to scream slurs at people. It works.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Bella says it's on the slur list on Wiki. Well,
who gives a shit? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Slur list. You can't tell me. I'll tell you if it's a slur.
Levels increasing. Yes. Yes. Oh God, what were we talking about? Where I said with the hard R, but it was something else we were talking about. But I said with the harder R on it.
Said it.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember now.
Said it. He said that word.
Oh, slurs are cool. Yes, they are. They work very well. And like I said, the coolest thing ever is when you're in court and you can use them because somebody else said them. It's even better when you're in a courtroom full of white people and somebody has to drop the N-word.
And you said this, correct?
Yes. Is it true you called him a N-word? And the judge had to stop, and he called us up and he's like, did he use the word N-word or did he say the word? And the prosecutor's like, he said the word. I'm like, you have to use the word. The prosecutor's like, what? And once he did it, I was like,
oh, the judge said you have to use the word.
Well, you have to be correct. And I'm like, Your Honor, yes, I'm going to object if he doesn't cite correctly, the facts. And I was like, because yes, it's like, Your Honor, he's not using the slurs.
He has to say it.
Say the words. Say the goddamn words.
Say it, bitch.
It's like Reservoir Dogs when he's in the back seat bleeding. He's like, say the goddamn fucking words. And then I got up there and I'm like, so you called my client a nigger, is that correct, sir?
Why'd you do that?
Isn't that weird? Because he was a fucking asshole. My client beat the fuck out of him.
Don't you think it's weird that you did that?
Yes. Isn't it ironic you said that and he beat the shit out of you and nobody stopped him?
I had a hyper technical cross-examination where the opposing side was being super, fucked up and cagey and taking some liberties with the rules of evidence to just throw me off.
Mm-hmm.
And I wound up adopting, what was that guy? The Darrell, the fucking one who ran over all those people.
Darrell Brooks, yeah,
Darrell Brooks. I wound up adopting. Is it fair to say? And then going with whatever.
Take it good, says Sean, holding a gun to someone, making him build a tower. Oh,
that's good.
Yes. Robert says, was that recorded on video? No, it was not. And it wasn't at trial, but it was at our evidentiary hearing. And this guy had said it a bunch, and my client stabbed him in addition to beating him. And
allegedly.
He stabbed the guy. Oh, no, wait. I turned felonious assault and almost attempted murder into just simple assault. And the guy got his record sealed afterwards.
Damn.
Well, it didn't help that but it didn't help that the victim, when he was getting interviewed by the police, and he's getting interviewed by this big black detective. He's like 6'6" and like 225. He's just a fucking huge dude. And it's this old white guy, and he's sitting there just dropping end bombs throughout the thing. And I was just thinking, the detective's just thinking, like, I should just fucking suffocate you in the bed. But yeah,
But
no,
he
the
probably
guy
didn't even miss a beat. He was probably just like, okay.
Yeah, no, he just like, keep talking, tell me what's going on, and you can hear him taking notes. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was great. My guy got fucking assault like that. He didn't get put on probation. He came back within like a year, and the judge's like, "Yeah, you're reconciled. You're good." She remembered he kind of he defended his mom. He defended his mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't go messing with people's moms.
No.
Yeah, no, and a female judge would probably
screaming,
very much appreciate that.
Start screaming racial slurs at everybody.
It's a legitimate legal strategy. It's not a great one, but it is a legal strategy.
Did I give him the death penalty? No, I got him out on a pretty good setup. Like I said, that's the only time I've ever had that happen where it's like, look, everybody agreed this guy fucking deserved what happened to him. And the victim was there in court after like we had the plea, and like he came back to his record sealed. He's like, I don't want it to happen. The judge is like, oh, cool. Your record sealed, sir. Have a great day.
I don't want it to happen. He hit me.
Yeah. No, and it was just like a regular gas station knife, and he tickled this guy's spleen.
Oh, he like pulled a Kazuma-Kiryu. Fucking
pretty much. He was helping. Yes. Yeah, he was doing it. Well, no one is on a Toya Yamagachi. Yeah. Keeping Japan communist free. But yeah, he split the guy bad. He spent like a month in the hospital.
I mean, there's certain things that are just not smiled upon in polite society.
Yeah. Larry said, I walked in the court. Somebody asked him, "Why are you so happy today, Sean?" Well, this wasn't around woke minorities. It's like a room basically full of white people.
Yeah. He's
This
in
was
Ohio,
like,
you have to remember.
Yes, it was also 2016, so there weren't really too many woke people then.
Yeah, that was right at the beginning of it.
It was a great year, though. 2016, Brexit, Trump, and I got to say the N-word in court. Oh, salad days.
All downhill from there.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of salad days, you see, I know PSA gets a lot of shit for their quality control, but they're selling like a fucking complete lower for like $99 right now.
Oh, is it the Glock one? Or
no, just regular AR lower.
Oh yeah, no, they always have those flash sales and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm like that's
Glock
pretty.
Frame is like $75 or something.
Yeah.
So people like I know a bunch of people that are like, yeah, fuck, why not?
Yeah, it's salad days, man. Like you hear the days about like the South African battle packs, or like, yeah, we bought like 1,000 rounds of 308, and then we just bump fired the rest of it, so we didn't want to take it back to the car when we left. And I'm like,
yeah, I've heard
the
stories
early
like
90s
that.
I've heard that. My godfather mentioned that. It's like, yeah, we didn't want to carry the rest of the ammo back, so we just like shot at dirt clods. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why can't I have had that?
That's funny.
I
was just looking through while you were reading the boring parts. Yeah. I was looking at the new garbage on the importer site.
Oh, what's anything new?
Just some good
garbage.
Trash. Yeah,
more Turkish
European shotguns. Oh yeah, well no, some real European ones.
Oh well, those might be good.
I saw a Spanish 22. I'm like, that looks fun.
Yeah.
I got a Bulgarian high power clone that just came in. It was funny.
They make high powers in Bulgaria?
Well, they don't look like high powers, but they are on the inside. They look like it's a high power that's not done. Like is literally what it looks like.
So the slide never got finished and like
it's like square on the side.
Oh,
here.
So it looks like a big metal Glock.
I just put it in the private chat.
Oh, okay.
It literally is a high power that like no finish machine was done.
Oh no. That almost like
it's called because he can't show it because he'll get the stream pulled.
Oh my god, that's the high point we have 94. At home.
Yeah. 94. Yeah. That looks like the guns you make when you're like,
that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you're like, yeah, that looks like the guns you make when you see like the Chechen guerrillas making shit.
Well, so here's a
Just
funny
like the
thing.
lines and everything.
The Israelis were
Yeah.
did tests on this gun because they were considering a service handgun.
Yeah.
And they found these to be just as, if not more reliable than the Browning guns.
I mean, I could see that. They just look really fucking rough.
Yeah, no, and I think it's just probably because it's a brick.
Yeah.
It is really rough, but it is
Yeah.
like, frankly, a smarter way to, like, if you have to make a shitload of them, it's a smarter way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, but it looks like almost like a it
looks like
you're
the starter pistol in a video game. It looks like Duke.
It does. It does. It's like it almost actually kind of looks like a SIG 226 if you didn't know how to draw one,
Low
and
poly.
it ends up looking like a hollow point. Yeah, but it still becomes like a high power a little bit.
Yeah, just
I
because of
don't
its
know, it's-
nose.
Well, in the back end though, too, the way it's all.
The dead giveaway is the slide release, and then if
Yeah.
you look, if you look down the end of it, which I always do, first thing I do when I
Mhm.
get a good gun, it has that high power like step.
Yeah, it does. But okay, the other side. Okay, yeah, it's obviously high power, but when you look at it from the right side, you're like, huh.
I wish I could just take it out.
Yeah, I wish you could too.
There's
I wish you
stupid
could too.
rules.
Yes.
I don't like rules.
So,
The great
Sir Marhouse says, "How are the wind chime sales going?"
Not bad, man. We had a new release of the Hitchhiker.
Yes.
That is a project that it was one of my designs, and it was a long time in the making. It's a hyper simple 22 LR
Mhm.
auto eject. Well, you made one.
Well, I'm still waiting on some parts, but yes, I did the
Oh,
3D
fuck.
printing for it. Yeah, but no, like it prints out real nice, and yeah, some of the initial parts of it are really fucking cool.
Yeah,
It's super neat. It's super neat.
but yeah, no, the Hitchhiker is it's been going great. We've got a lot of kits. You need to remind me better.
I'll work on that. I'll start annoying the shit out of you about it.
Yeah, no.
But yes,
Milo
guys,
did. I did just see I saw the order window, and I saw Milo ordered another one.
Oh,
He was one of our first testers, and like I'm really glad he's enjoyed it.
yeah, guys,
But it
think
is
of the Hitchhiker. Like otherwise, when you build these 3D printed guns, it still costs you like $100, $200, $300 to actually make the gun. This is for how much now would it cost to get all the parts?
So if you buy everything, including if you literally buy the kit where it's like Legos, just plug and play, it's like $100.
Okay.
I think the cheapest kit is like 98 with everything. And if you get the barrel yourself, it's $69.69.
But guys, so and then you just 3D print everything else.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. It's a pretty cool deal.
And it's the whole point of it was one, something that is kind of like beginner friendly, that doesn't take an engineer to do, and two, actually has objective usefulness. I designed it for total iguana death. So it stores away into a little square, it folds up, and then you can quickly deploy it. And it's a single shot, but it automatically ejects and automatically recocks. So it's like way faster than a traditional single shot.
Yes.
And the
also
whole point
known as an open bolt.
Yeah, the whole point of it is if you're on the road or whatever, let's say you see a squirrel or an iguana or something, you'll just shoot them and eat them.
Yes. Oh, I'm gonna put it in the locals chat, guys. Oh, I'll 100% put the Hitchhiker in the locals chat for you.
I need to give
I'll
you
put
an
that up
affiliate link. Actually, let me just do that right now.
Okay.
No, a code.
Sure.
What do you want your code to be? Pot Crim?
Sure. Pot Crim.
All right, guys. It'll be Pot Crim. It'll be live in like 10 minutes.
All right.
You'll get 10% off code Pot Crim.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm sponsored now, chat.
Well, I've been giving all my friends who also have channels or whatever, because they've mentioned my website. I'm like, why the fuck shouldn't you get something for that?
Yes. All right.
But it's a fun
Milo
business.
says
It's
I ordered
great.
2 more. Nice, Milo. Yeah. Yeah, and I think at some point, are you thinking about scaling them up at all?
What do you mean?
Like doing like a 9mm Hitchhiker?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've already got the the nice thing about the design is that it's just a literal scale. Like you actually just I designed it to where you just scale up from where the sear surface is, and then you can do any caliber, like actually literally any caliber. Although 5.56 would be awkward because you'd have a 12-pound bolt.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But yeah, we're messing with that. I am waiting. I sent one to the ATF, even though I don't have to, just because I thought it would be funny.
You wait, they're gonna come back, be like, yeah, we figured out how to make this a machine gun.
It's like, I know what I'll do if they say that. I'll sue the shit out of them because that's fucking insane.
They're like, well, how did you do that? They're like, well, it took us like 40 hours in the machine shop, and yes, we
made a new gun with all new parts.
Yeah, we basically took the front end and slapped that on a Suomi.
Yeah, so I literally made it impossible to make the gun fire automatically.
Yes.
And I did it in a way I'm pretty proud of, and so we'll see what happens. But yeah.
Where's the Hitchhiker 50?
The Hitchhiker, the bolt for 50 cal, I think that would be 63 pounds.
God, and that's a lot of mass to go flying forward.
Yeah, no, and it would be a lot of mass to cock too.
Yeah, you'd have to get like one of those crossbow poles on it.
Yeah. Or a fucking crank.
Oh, a crank too, yeah. J-Rex says, show the schematic. I can't show the schematic. We'll get fucking nuked for that.
You can probably show the schematic, but like, yeah, probably did enough close calls.
Yeah, well, if you guys all hop over to, well, no, because I don't have Rumble set up now, but if you guys all hop on the Twitter, we can do it. We can do where the fuck we want on Twitter. You can have Bussy in your bio.
It's in bio. Crypto coins.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and somebody said fucking, oh, when are you gonna take crypto? Hurt yourself.
Oh, you're not a crypto fan?
No. Okay, how do I say this in a polite way? It's fine that other people like it. But stores of value should not be volatile. Like, that's the opposite of a currency.
Yeah.
If it's volatile and appreciating, it means it's a dog shit currency. Because if a currency discourages you from spending it, it is like the most fucking horrifying currency that could possibly exist.
Yes. Oh no, I agree with that. But
well, just for anyone who thinks I'm retarded for saying that. Okay, imagine you run a company and there's something that you could do, an investment you could make, right, that would increase your profits by 5%. In a functioning, healthy economy, you would want to do that, right? Yes. Like, and 5% relative to the investment, right? But if you thought that there was a potential that just sitting on your money would give you a higher yield than that, you would just not do it. Yes. And then your business would be less efficient. And so, like, that's why inflation is actually a good thing. And, you know, even crypto shit was designed to have inflation. That's why they work the way they do. But then everyone fucked them up and started using them as a speculative investment. Like, yeah, you don't go like to work at McDonald's, say, I want to get this 8 hours, I want to work this hour, get my $15 and store it away because one day it'll be worth a shitload. Yeah. My hour at McDonald's will have exploded to the moon. Like, that's fucking stupid.
Yes. Like, I remember back in because I was like getting, like, it was my senior year of college. Like, I heard about Bitcoin and it was like this uber libertarian thing. It's like, man, you could pay and it's like you're paying with money that you make. And you could buy, like, I bought like a pizza with Bitcoin. It was like 20 Bitcoins.
Yeah.
And that was back when you could have like a desktop, like a shitty Dell desktop mining Bitcoins. Like, like by the end of my college, like, you could barely run Counter-Strike. But guess what? It was mining Bitcoin like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
I bought a pizza and some beer. And I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, no, we could have never foreseen what would happen, right?
Yeah.
But oh my god, look at these people. And I do understand thinking that inflation is a stealth tax.
Yes.
It's
Well, rampant inflation is.
yeah, no, there's inflation. So like a normal inflation rate, like a good inflation rate would be like 1 to 3%.
Yes.
That not what we're dealing with right now. Like
No.
it's just like you shouldn't be incentivized to buy land and then not develop it. Right? It goes all the way back to like Lockean concepts of property. I probably sound like such a fucking idiot now.
No, you're fine. You're good. No, but Math Coin coming soon.
Yeah, sure. I mean, no, hell, I do. Don't get me wrong. If somebody invites me to the ground floor of one of them fucking scams, I'm in.
Yeah.
And you would see me publicly with a smile on my face being like, no, it's different this
Pumping
time.
the fuck out of this one. Yeah.
It's different this time.
To the moon, chat. You trust me on this one. Would I lie?
This time I'm in control, Dirt.
Yeah.
May as well accept tulip bulbs. That's exactly it. It's exactly precisely it.
Yes.
Like
Fight coin.
If here's the thing, here's my investment strategy for my whole life has always been, if I cannot explain what something does in one sentence, I don't touch it. Like, I don't touch my money. I don't touch it to my money.
Yes. KJ says Clyde coin. No, we're not doing Clyde coin, guys.
What's that?
Well, my dog Clyde.
Oh,
we'll do Clyde coin. And then Ivan Prince Gunn says, Matt, can I stop choking people? Now it's starting to turn purple.
Have you reached your size quota?
Is that our Ivan?
Yeah, that's Ivan.
Okay, that's actually him. Okay.
Yeah. No, Draco coin. As long as the Draco coin I'd be good with, as long as there was a like central reserve.
Yeah.
I don't know if not a bank, but a central reserve Century Arms where you could redeem a Draco coin at any point for a Draco.
Instead of a wallet, you'd have a magazine. There you go.
Now that's a store of value. Forget silver.
Yeah.
Look at my Draco.
Oh, God, there was one of these. We watched one of those police shootouts where they caught the guy, and the dude's reaching down and tries to yank out a Draco on the cops, and they just air condition the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
It's like recent in the past week or two, and I was like,
ventilated.
Fuck. Oh, he had like a 40-round mag and everything. He had the beam on it. Sir Mario says inflation's good. Look at the puffy anime girls. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not going to pull a Boogie, and we're not doing Boogie coin.
What is? Oh,
Boogie 2988. He's like
the nice gentleman.
Yeah, committing fucking wire fraud. That's and the funny thing is, he doesn't have like the protection of like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, all these other people.
Oh wait, hold on. Wait, there's a new Boogie thing?
Yeah. Like over the past couple of days, he got called out as cancer diagnosed. Like he's faking having cancer.
That's funny.
Yeah. And he got caught, like everybody came after him. And so they had the Lolcow show.
Uh-huh.
Basically everybody came onto that show and to the point where like, just show us your documents. And even Mr. Medicare was on there. He's like, just send it to me or send it to Keem. And it got to the point where like, we'll pay you like $85,000 if you show your proof of your cancer. And he was like, no, I'm not showing it. I was like, and he's broke as fuck. He says he's always broke. It was $85,000.
It's on the principal, dude.
Not for him.
The code is live now. Pot Crim.
Yeah. Okay, Pot Crim, guys, over at MAF Corp.
MAF-arms.com.
MAF-darms.com. Okay, sorry.
POTCRIM, Pot Crim.
Yes, POTCRIM, Pot Crim.
It's the pot crime.
Yes.
$85,000.
Yeah.
It's like Boogie is the kid who lived in the trailer park behind the elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
But like his dad was really rich, and trust me, he's off doing work at Nintendo right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. That's horrible. But so what's the What's the securities fraud issue there? Or I guess wire fraud.
So he started this whole thing of, well, tricking people into giving him money if he didn't have it. That's wire fraud because he used the internet. So that's wire fraud. But he started pumping a cryptocurrency called Fatty Coin, and he made like his sell of it. He was sitting there like Andrew Tate, and he's holding a cigar, and he's like, "Buy my coin, you'll go broke." Which he's trying to say like, well, that means I really wasn't trying to sell it, but it's like that's a selling tactic. Like you don't only the rich people can afford this. Well, as it went live, it did like $3 million in like trading activity. So like it actually like a lot of fucking money went into it. So, and he said it's only for investment purposes. It's not meant to like use for anything. Well, that makes it a security under like Supreme Court case law. You're literally stating it's not for monetary transactions. It's therefore a security. So which means the SEC is involved.
The what an exchange commission? What the
Securities Exchange Commission? Yes. And then there's like, but there's other ones. Like when I was looking at Logan Paul when he did all this shit, like the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission. That's the CFTC. There's all kinds of fucking agencies I learned about. Is that your dog, Rosa?
That's Rosa and Alex both talking.
Oh, okay. Oh,
because Sam's letting them out.
Yeah, but no, there was all kinds of like it's fucking wire fraud, it's securities fraud. Like, there's all kinds of shit, and he's some piece of shit guy out in Arkansas. He's not one of the Paul brothers who probably has a lot of support and money. He'd be the guy they fuck over. Are you sure? Or the Fed's at your door?
They're corgis. They have a lot to say.
Yeah. And they talk about Tower 7 too, like Building 7, because my dog talks about it all the time. Every time he comes on.
My dogs say a lot of stuff that I think is just inappropriate for the world.
Yeah. Clyde also has an obsession with the USS Liberty.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it, but my dogs say some things that I think might be, a little too critical of our greatest ally.
Yes. They're like, wait, APAC pays how much money to how many congressmen?
Alex, stop that. Bad dog.
Yeah.
Bad
no,
dog.
Yeah, Clyde's not a fan of APAC, and I'm like, well, I mean, it's kind of like he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Bad dog. Stop.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So,
dogs are smarter than we give them credit for.
Yeah, they know, Chad. When they're not licking their own balls, they know.
Rose the dog came in here and she was like, I'm just saying, imagine your best friend had this really cool boat.
Yeah.
And he was playing in his boat out in your front yard.
And then your other friend attacks him repeatedly.
And blows his boat up.
Yeah, and machine guns it for hours on end when he's begging your friend. And Bob is begging Steve to stop shooting at him.
Yeah. And then afterwards, he said, hey, why'd you blow my boat up? And the other friend says, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Now, would you call them best friends or the best of friends?
Yes. Yes, don't give Clyde a calculator. Yes, because I did that once, and he's like, wait, how much coal can you fit in a car?
Stuff that right now.
Yeah, how much Coke? I'm like, no, Clyde, stop, no.
Stop, Clyde.
The
moment Clyde starts talking about bakeries, we have to just put his muzzle on.
Yeah. Johan is saying if Boogie ever wrote Max's, he's going to need a cargo ship anchor chain. Well, yeah, that too.
Jesus.
Yeah, well. So if Clyde had to bake 6 million dog biscuits, how many ovens would he need? Oh,
just one.
Yeah, yes. Just working 24/7. So where is the USS Liberty now? Where is the USS Liberty now? I don't actually know the answer to that.
I mean, it may be an artificial reef, but I mean, no, it would be too
deep. Israelis tried. Okay, so it's fate. Let's see. damage beyond economical repair by these Israeli attack in June, sold for scrap in 1973. You know what happened in 1973? The Yom Kippur War.
Mhm.
Dun dun dun. Oh,
Beyond economical repair. Yeah, that shit was
oy
brand
vey
new.
is what they mean.
Like that was a
Oh.
brand new toy.
Well,
Oh no,
well, actually,
J-Rock
no,
doesn't know.
It was a Liberty ship, actually. So it was built in 1945. Laid down, launched, and completed. Okay. Oh, there she is.
Nice toy.
Yeah, looks good. Looks good. It'd be a
It's
shame if
shame if,
something happened.
Yeah, it's a shame if you popped it out there.
Yeah. Well, hold on. What did J-Rock say? What's the USS Liberty? Well, I'm just saying it. It was a well-seasoned USS Liberty. Oh no. Oh.
Were they hiding in the scrap?
Yeah, it's just a ship that did a lot of technical research and think. Oh wait, oh no, sorry, we can't. Sorry, it ends there. Chat. The article doesn't go any further. Sorry. So yeah, nothing happened in 1967. Somebody they dented the doors really bad on it, and that's what happened. Oh, that was a big yawn.
That's my old one.
That's your old one. It's the old
Yeah.
model.
Yeah, she's 12,
Oh.
but she's got more.
Well, if her face
personality.
is white, how do you tell if she's getting frosty? It doesn't work.
Not that white. It's just the lighting.
She's not that. Leave it to Matt. Be like, yeah, my dog's not that white. Hmm.
Yeah, the other one's black, straight up black.
Yes.
Black corgi.
Yes.
Dog. The Jocko podcast with some Jocko like Willink.
Yeah.
I am not watching any of that, no matter what.
Man, there's apparently like it's interesting the like special forces community because there are people who are saying like there's people now talking shit about like Jocko when he was running his SEALs in Ramadi and stuff. They're like, yeah, he did it. A lot of fucking people got killed because he wasn't doing a good job. It's like, sure, he woke up at 4 a.m, but it didn't do anything good. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, God, man, these guys fucking like, well, I get it. You know, if everybody dies, it's not a good thing.
When I was at FPC, they fucking like the
listen to
president.
Jocko all the time. Listen to Jocko podcast.
Well, no, he made us go to the fucking training. The
echelon front thing.
Yeah.
Where you have to wake up at 4 a.m. and all that shit.
Well, but it was the
part of it?
virtual one, and like you had to like listen to all these like fucking awful war stories, and like the only person who was getting into it was the president, Brandon Combs, who's like such a fucking psychopath, and he thought it was the greatest thing ever. And why is it? Because the extreme accountability system is it's always your fault no matter what.
Yeah.
And because there was a failure, you let down your commanding officer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow, this would be great if you were in charge of a bunch of like 18-year-old Midwestern kids. Like this would be perfect for that.
Yes.
But
I thought you were going to tell me they sent you guys to that like thing where you carry the sledgehammers and have to go like. Have you seen that?
Yeah, no, that's he has like a It's like
I can see like I can see him going to that.
Companies like do that. And well, this was like COVID time, so stuff like that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
But companies will do that, and like suits will start like lobster claw types will get like all pumped and excited. And I just think that's the most pathetic dog shit like conceivable. Like I just feel so bad.
Yeah. Like I never had doing that gay corporate shit. Thank God.
Get everyone on your squad air conditioned.
Good.
I haven't heard air conditioned for ventilated.
Yeah. Oh, you never have? Like, when I was one of my first there's a felony case I was dealing with where my guy got accused and he's like, He ended up telling me, he's like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, yeah, I had an SKS. He's like, I fucking air conditioned that dude's house. And I'm like, I appreciate you explaining it that way. And he had an 8K with a duck mag in it, and he's just out of the back of a fucking like Chevy Avalanche, just. And I'm like, well, what happened? He's like, well, after I got done, because he could take the back out of it, I rolled into the back seat, and no, they didn't have to slow down. And I'm like, pretty spiffy way of doing it.
And that was after he got acquitted.
Well, no, they couldn't really tie some stuff to him.
Oh, okay.
So he ended up getting in trouble though, because he got caught with a ton of heroin. So
it's always
they kind of let it go. They got him another way.
That's funny though. I do love that when you get to know the real story.
Yeah. No, like the real shit. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, didn't really know I need to know that one, but okay, cool.
I worked a domestic violence case that I then found out like after I like fought hard and got him off. And then he's like, oh yeah, I beat the shit out of her. I was like,
well, see, I'm okay with that. It's like, it's not my fault.
Right, like it's like, all right, well, I guess whatever. I just don't feel as good anymore.
Well, yeah,
because I was like, I did a justice.
Well, I always look at it like this. It's like when the quarterback gets sacked by the linebacker. It's like, are you mad at the linebacker? No, you're mad at the lineman for not doing their job. Like, you don't like. How dare he tackle the quarterback? It's like, I just did my job. Like, it's not my fault.
Yeah. No,
although yes, there have been. You get drug suppressed. And you're like, oh, they're probably gonna go out and OD in a week.
Yeah. Whatever. Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's always worth it if the government's losing. It doesn't matter who's winning if the government's losing. That's how if
the government loses, but I'm like, holy shit, he's probably gonna go out and fucking rob somebody again. And like, yeah, they did. And then at some point he got involved in a felony murder like somewhere down in Cincinnati. And I'm like, yeah, I could have seen that coming. Like, I knew that was gonna happen at some point. Well, he didn't die, but I was like, that's close enough. I thought he was going to die at some point. So he's down doing life. I was like, whoops.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. She should have listened the first time. I agree. It
was that case really bothered me.
Yeah.
The thing is like, because I believed it.
Yeah.
Like, I 100% believed it.
And after it got done, he told you, he's like, "Oh, by the way,
it was like something unrelated." And anyway, and he just kind of drops it, and I'm like,
"Oh, by the way, yeah, hey, did you see the sports ball game? By the way."
Yeah. And I was like, "No," because I always put my back into it. At the beginning, I'm always like, "Hey, I'm like your doctor, right? Like, you got to just tell me if you're doing drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use it against you." But this way I know for the strat and everything. And I wouldn't have, if I had known from the beginning, I still would have fought like hell, right?
Yeah.
But I would have just known.
Yes.
So I don't know if, because I believe in zealous advocacy and stuff like that. But it just is kind of weird when it's like, I fucking believed you. Oh, whatever.
Yeah. I believed in you.
Like John's got good comments. Look at that last one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, I beat the brakes off that bitch.
Yeah, brakes.
I heard that one. I've heard that one as a kid. One of my kids I knew in school, his dad or his uncle would his uncle would get like fucking plastered all the time, and like he'd show up at games as a kid, and he'd be like, "I'll beat the fucking brakes." Like for one time, he's yelling at the cops, and he's, "I'll beat the fucking brakes off you." And he squared up, and the cops just like dropped him.
Oh no!
Oh, they didn't kill him. They beat the shit out of him, though.
Yeah,
yeah. Dude, still the best. I remember I was like probably like 12 years old, and there was like all the kids who weren't good enough to join the traveling baseball teams, or if your parents didn't want to fucking drive around everywhere, you just played in the city league, the town's league. And it was at the town's baseball field, so like you didn't have to go anywhere. And the one game my coach, our coach, my brother and I, our coach and the coach on the other team, I don't even remember what the fuck they were fighting about, but these like 2 40-year-old dudes, and they're both big enough, they just start fucking slugging each other in the middle of this shitty like dirt field in like the middle of fucking Ohio, and they are fucking hitting each other hard enough we can hear them. Like just connecting. Yeah, well, you can hear the like punches, like throwing in a side punch. And our coach was a former corrections officer. He's throwing fucking body shots, and you can hear him fucking hitting the guy. And we're just like, what the fuck? Oh,
no, I have my best friend Gino, who's from Ohio, actually.
yeah.
He says, I'll box that fucking head in.
I've heard that before too.
Yeah, no. And Gino has beat some people like properly. Yeah. I know, like, I think it was 2 times he broke his hand just pummeling somebody. And he's like a 5'7" Italian, like,
that's
stuff.
yes. A wop from Ohio who likes to fight. That's I can walk outside and throw a rock and find one for you. Oh,
good shit.
No, I'm not gonna box Boogie, guys.
But what?
No, they're like, oh, you should box Boogie. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'd have to fucking work out. It's like I ain't doing that.
You should box Chris Chan.
I would not touch him. Dude, that's how you get fucking cursed and shit.
Dude, that fucking, like, you know, I've been like reaching out to Nick and stuff, and like he's actually been really cool with me, but like I didn't know he put on the emblem.
Yeah, you don't put on the medallion.
Yeah, dude, I saw it, and I remember, and like when all of the fucking YouTubers were making their videos on them.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing there is one where he like puts it on, and then like the colors go inverse and it zooms in. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason why, like, I wouldn't want to get into a fist fight with Chris Chan. Like, I don't want to upset the spirit. Like, I don't. It's not that I like him, but it's like he's got some fucking voodoo working with him, dude. There is no. There is no.
Put it on, welcomed it.
Yeah. Well, Riley Gaines did the Alcatraz swim? Really? Huh. I thought that normally killed people. Sir Mao says Sean needs to box a winner. Fight wings. Why would I like no? Like watching fucking elephants fight.
Stop saying.
Besides, I like wings. Wings is funny.
Yeah. Sam, say hi to the internet.
Hi, internet.
Hello. Hello, Mrs. Matt.
Yeah. This is Matt to you. What's up?
Oh. I wonder what they're talking about. They're probably like, she's probably like, can you put it in there? And he's like, I don't know if it'll fit there. He's like, ooh, it's kind of nasty. I don't know if I want to put it there. The winner of Sam Hyde. Why would I want to fight Sam Hyde? I like Sam Hyde. Also, by the way, guys, Sam Hyde did a video with administrative results. It's actually fucking hilarious.
She just gave me an update on all the dogs.
Oh, okay.
They're all in good working order.
2 dogs, or how many do you have?
3.
Oh, 3. Ooh.
3 dogs.
A
lot of dogs.
Yes. Matt missed the ham radio talk last night.
What happened?
See, well, no, we were just also apparently because do you know what HEMA is? Historic European Martial Arts?
No.
Okay, so basically all the European, like the old Renaissance treatises where like the guys are sword fighting and shit. people study those and learn how to fight like that, like the actual fighting.
From the like
Yeah.
paintings.
Well, yeah, but well, there's like written things about it too, and you kind of figure it out because you'll do what the guy says, and you're like, wait, it doesn't make sense if I do it this way. I actually have to do it this way. And eventually, like, it's like kendo, like the Japanese fencing shit.
Mhm.
Except, unlike kendo, there are no rules about like you have to be like loud and enthusiastic.
Right.
You just fuck it. It's kill the other guy. There's no rule like you can do blows to like wherever you want. You know, the head everywhere is fair game. Unlike kendo, where you have to like,
Yeah.
you get judged on how you hit. No, it's like, did I hit you or not? But with HEMA, it covers like using spears, like sword and shield, and it's like it's actually kind of fun, and it's not LARPing. God damn it! And they're saying that's worse than ham radio. It's LARPing. It's like, you fuckers.
I mean, hobbies
You
are
get a big
all
fight.
inherently a little lame,
Well,
but like,
yeah.
So what?
No, I know, but I was like, my chat is very judgmental.
Oh, Sam wants you guys to see how Rose is right now. Yeah, bring her
Is
around.
she in a shirt?
Okay.
A dog sweater?
So she is not spayed, so she has to wear a diaper,
Oh.
and she gets out of it. So we had to put her in little suspenders. little lumberjack dog.
Did you guys have to make rip apart a set of suspenders they made for that?
They of course the Chinese just make these. They're probably for their people, but it fits the tiny dog just fine.
Really, that's awesome.
And yes, Rose always acts this drugged up.
Oh,
Love this stupid dog.
Yeah.
This is my stream partner dog because she'll just sit here and
Yes. She goes great on Twig.
Yeah.
You do it.
Doesn't she look completely doped?
Yeah. Yes, she does. That's why you got to give your dog like the CBD treats, like these things. My dogs fucking eat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
See, that'd be funny if you guys did your review. Like Ivan comes up, like, look, I've got something for you. Whack, put your dog on the table.
Oh, I did that in God, which review was that?
I don't remember.
I
Put your
forgot.
dog on the table.
I did a review. I think it was the Walther PDP one. Oh yeah. I just put the gun in front of her and I was like, all right, what? And did something like this.
Well, no, you should inspecting the dog.
And I also was like, for size comparison, here's a standard corgi, and I just
I remember that part, yes, but I was just like, you should just. Ivan opens up a box and pulls your dog out.
Yeah.
You guys know the dog is asleep right now. He's asleep with 2.0. He's not coming out, and I don't want to wake her up. He's asleep with 2.0, the future Mrs. Martin 2.0. That means there was a future Mrs. Martin 1.0 many years ago. I got divorced. So I'm engaged to the future Mrs. Martin 2.0. So she's like the 2.0 version.
I knew you were engaged.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just flabbergasted that you're allowed to call her that.
Well, I don't want to use her name online. That's why.
Oh, but does she know you do that?
Oh yeah, she knows, and she when people say where's 2.0, she'll respond in chat I'm here.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I don't want to you don't want to power level people and shit. So it's she's okay with it.
Power level?
Yeah, you don't need the internet finding out about her. She's I don't want she's she's understand since I've been doing this, the internet can find fucking anything out. She's I don't want to help them figure out who I am. And I'm like, well, then this is the name you're going to have to go by. So
that's funny.
Yes, I had a previous wife. Yes. Work.
Her name was Douglas.
Yes. Yes, we call them my first marriage did not fail because of swinging.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm very fucking sure. For many reasons.
No, it was funny because I was never married before, but I had bought a house with a girl before.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well, it was the cheapest divorce I'd ever seen. It was still not cheap.
Yeah.
But it was, I think it was, in the end, all the lawyers got paid.
Yeah, well, they do. They do. That's
Including
something
me.
we're good at.
Because, she decided she wanted to keep the house. And I was like, that's fine.
Pay me. Yeah.
Yeah, and she thought that somehow was not
fair.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just want the half. Leave me alone.
Yeah. It's utterly fucking retarded, but
yeah.
Who cares?
No.
I got a younger and taller one now.
Oh. Cheesy Tyrion says, when is the best hours for customer service? What's customer service?
Yeah, what do you...
They're never wrong at MAF Arms.
So also, like, it's email. So
yeah, just send an email.
Whenever me or somebody else looks at the email.
Whenever
best hours for what? For somebody who's not me to see it? That would be normal hours, like, 10 to 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Outside of those hours, I'm looking at things.
Okay.
Because I don't go sleepy time.
No, I used to say, you don't sleep, man.
Yeah.
Is Matt married too? Yes, Matt just got married.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think they say, how long they say you're newlywed for? It was January 5th.
Okay. Yeah.
January 5th.
Marilla says, why is divorce expensive? It was worth it. Mine wasn't very expensive at all. I got off it pretty easy. So I'm okay. Milo says sometimes if they figure out who it is, you'll get weird responses from them.
It was the honeymoon, so we actually still haven't taken one. We were planning to go to Okinawa, and then they turned Japan off because of the storm.
Why Okinawa? Any particular?
Well, so because it was wintertime and Sam doesn't like the cold, and so we're like, well, we live in Florida. We're not gonna like go to like somewhere Caribbean because it's like we live in the Caribbean,
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I only know of one place that's kind of interesting and exotic and warm, and it was Okinawa.
So
Have
you been there before?
What? No, I've never been there.
Fuck that. Okinawa's Japan's Puerto Rico.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, no. So we're planning on once we're moving into a new house, and once we get that settled, we're like right after we move in, we're going to take our honeymoon. So
cool.
that's the plan. And I think I don't know. There's benefits to it, but right after we got married, we hung out on the beach in West Palm for a little bit, and did whatever.
Oh, West Palm Beach, nice.
That's where I'm from.
Fancy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Actually, as a kid, I was in Boca.
Oh.
That was awesome.
Surprised you weren't like in Hialeah or something like that. That's where I figured you'd be from.
I didn't hang out there a lot.
Liberty City Highs. Liberty City High School's class of 2005.
Jesus.
Oh, shit. Speaking of Liberty City, did you hear about this? And there's a city here in Ohio. There's like 50,000 people, 58,000 people in it. And it's kind of a shitty place.
No.
They dumped 20,000 Haitians into it like over the past like 2 months.
That's normal.
I'm like, well, that's not good.
I mean, it's not the
shootings will go down and the machete attacks will increase.
Yeah. I mean, I like Caribbean people in general, but
I think they're fine, but I don't think those are probably all just 20,000 true and honest, like heckin' good people.
I don't think it's ever a good idea when the government dumps
a
group of people anywhere, because that's how ghettos are formed. But
yeah,
like, whatever, fuck it.
Well, it already works because the city's pretty ghetto anyway.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Is it Springfield, Ohio? Yes, it's Springfield, Ohio.
Well, the wildest one, bro, is, and I mean, it wasn't even, the funny thing is, it wasn't even the feds, but I went to Minneapolis for the first time.
Oh.
And I was just like, no, because I was like going up to it, and I'm like, wow, this is like your traditional Midwestern, like white bread bullshit. Then I get to Minneapolis, I stop, I go to the Walmart, and I'm like,
Yeah.
straight up, there's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody's speaking.
Why does this look like the Bacara market?
And nobody's speaking my language, and they're all looking at me funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing in Columbus. There is a massive Somali population there too, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Well, and Somalis are cool people. It's just a
yeah,
very
but I didn't know. I was like,
culture.
"What the?"
Yeah, it's just
just
different, and so when it just suddenly happens, you're like, 50,000 new Ohio voters for
2024. That's okay. Well,
I wouldn't say Minneapolis was scary, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was just different.
Yeah, just weren't ready for it.
Yeah. No, and especially it really didn't seem scary because on my road trip, you know where I went after that?
Where?
Fucking Detroit.
Oh,
I went to Detroit in my 85 diesel Mercedes to go clean out a bunch of AK parts from somebody who was like trying to start an AK building operation. I was like shitting my pants as I was driving out of there with 75 fucking AK parts kits in my Mercedes.
Oh,
I was like, it is so good that my car is old because I have not.
You should lit a fire to cover your tracks. You'd be helping out the city.
And the funny thing is, I called my mom and I was like, hey, you remember when you would come here like back in the 70s because she worked at the airlines? And she was like, no, it was pretty awful back then too. I was like, right, but there was Motown.
Yeah, but they had walls keeping out all the black people. Have you ever seen
many of those?
Did you know that?
What?
They literally in Detroit, there are walls that and then there's like a break of the wall where the street is, and that's how they kept like black people in black neighborhoods. They walled them off, like literally, and they're still there in spots.
I saw a lot of fences, like weird fences.
Oh yeah, no, hold on here. I want to see the
Detroit, the wealthiest city in America in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, I would believe that because like when you go there now, like it's so weird because there's all these buildings and the facades are still like very 60s, and you're like, this must have been like the spot right at one point, and now it's just all in Arabic, and it's and like because they're smart, right? The Arabs are smart. They just went and just bought it all because it was the free. Like,
yeah. Well, if you go to Dearborn, that happens. So yeah, here you go.
Where I was in Dearborn.
Yeah, well, yeah, Dearborn does that. So there's I'm trying to find pictures of it. It's called the Detroit Wall. It was like one of the last ones left, but it was a separation wall. It was constructed in 1941. So it's like, got it up right before the war started.
Jesus. Are you going to put it up?
Yeah, I'm going to try to find a picture here. Where is a good picture of it?
The Great Wall of Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, where? Oh, come on. I need to find a fucking picture. Yeah, fucking A.
Yeah, get him.
Yeah, here you go. Here's the... It's like they've painted the wall to make it look really nice now, but like it's like we're gonna make this look cute and everything, but it's like it's literally like a 6.5 foot tall fucking concrete wall that's sunk into the dirt, and it runs along the neighborhoods.
And they just painted it.
Yeah. Oh, it's happy now. Yay!
Jesus.
Oh. J-Rock says, Matt, imagine if Sean was a fact for you, super based.
What is that?
I don't know unless he means I was a fag for you. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what a FAQ is. First Amendment complaint.
Am I forward air controlling you or what?
Yeah.
Yes, Detroit's 1967 borders. Yes. Go back to the old borders. That's what they want, Dearborn.
You can just step on that.
Sir Marhouse says, I work in a distribution center in Columbus. Oh, cool. And sucks you're stuck in Columbus. I don't care. I'm leaving soon. It's like 95% Somalis. Maintenance is all white, though, of course. Well, yes, I mean, because you can't just, inshallah when you're fixing stuff.
Why not?
How does this wiring go together? Oh, Allah will guide you.
Yeah, it's whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. Oh.
All right.
Yes,
I want to go sleep.
I'm gonna go too. Thanks for being here, Matt.
Yeah, no, thanks for inviting me.
We learned tonight. We learned some stuff.
Yeah, I hope everybody had a nice time. Thanks, chat, for being a good chat.
Yeah.
And guys, don't forget to use his promotional code.
Yes, PotCrim. At maf-arms.com, chat. You can use PotCrim. You got 10% off, and the Hitchhiker kits are in.
Yeah.
Or you can get a wind chimes. Make yourself a tack daddy.
Whatever you want.
Or an Amigo Verde kit. Oh. So, all right. Take care, man. I'll see you around, man.
Right on. Be easy.
Thanks for coming in.
Of course.
See ya. So that's it, guys. We're all set. We're all set. A lot of fun. Is the stream haram? Yes. Ammo says, holy fuck, you're still streaming. I know. I'm done. I'm spent. So, anyways, chat, it's 2:30. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Good night, you guys. Take care. We're not even doing the outro song. I'm done. Goodbye. Hi, Plane Shifter. Hello. Hi. Yes, go to bed, chat. Go to bed. Unless you're in Europe, and then it's like 8 a.m. So have fun with Saturday. Good night, chat. Good night, everybody. Take care. Goodbye.